Well, happy Friday, everyone. It's a very, very special live stream this evening. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. We are super, super happy to have you here. The way it works is really simple. On your screen, you're going to see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not. But either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. So guys, as you guys know, we have a couple of regulars of the live stream, and one of them is a golf course superintendent for the club at Flying Horse the club at Flying Horse out in Colorado Springs, Devin. So he's on tonight with us to any questions you guys have, particularly around cool season turfgrass, or really anything. If some of you guys have the idea that you wanted to have a golf green at home, this would be the guy to throw those questions to. Anything involving cool season turfgrass, tonight is your night. You guys often complain that, the show is largely for warm season folks. So tonight it's all about you guys. So let me see if I can bring Devin in here and we can get this rolling. All right, Devin, you there?
Yeah. Hey, Ron, what's going on?
Good, man. Yeah, thanks so much for taking some time to come hang out this evening and take some questions. Just do what we do on the live stream. So so I'm going to look for some questions from some of the viewers. But while I do that, tell us a little bit about yourself, as far as like what you do, like how many years you've been working in turfgrass, that type of thing.
Okay. So started working at a golf course in 2007. Just a high school job. Did that all the way up through high school. Went to Colorado State. Graduated from there with my turf management degree in 2014. Took a job out in Long Island. Worked at a course out there for about a year and a half, and then came back home. And I've been at Flying Horse for just about 10 years now. So been doing it for quite a while now.
Nice. Cool. So 2007 up to now. So that's so you're coming up on 20 years. That's pretty good.
Yep. Which is pretty funny. It's like 2/3 of my life, because I'll be 32 this year. Yeah. So
nice. Well, I mean, the good thing is, right, you figure out what you like at a relatively young age, stuck with it, and sky's the limit. I mean, being a super for a course, I've seen the pictures of the course. It's a really nice course, is a big accomplishment. So
yeah, it's a pretty fun office to have.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's see what we have as far as the questions this evening. Guys, as always, we're coming to you guys live on YouTube as our primary platform, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For any of you guys that are on Instagram, if you want to be able to get your question up on the screen, come over to YouTube. You just go to YouTube, type Ron Henry and live stream, and it should show up as one of the options for you to join. So do that if you guys want to be part of it as well. So I have a question here for someone on Instagram. It's Sportster 1993. And his question is best time to kill grubs in Wisconsin. So
Probably once the soil's thawed out enough and you start seeing a little bit of activity. You don't want to do it too quick and have that active ingredient flush through the profile before they can take advantage and get contact on them. So I'd let it warm up a little bit. Kind of pre-emergent kind of soil temps is what I would do, and then apply that. But
sure, yeah. So this was a good point. So I mean, as far as by doing it too early, like if you get a lot of heavy snow or rainfall, or to your point, it can be washed through the profile before you really get a chance to take advantage of it and have it do its thing.
Yeah,
not in
and they might
Wisconsin,
not be active yet.
might not be
I
active
was just
yet.
going to say, the grubs might not be active yet, to take up that active ingredient. They still might be in that winter state. So,
Sure.
once everything warms up, they'll be warmed up, and then you'd be safe to apply.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So Wisconsin probably too soon. In Georgia, Northeast Georgia, we'll get ours out in like April-ish time frame, so it works well for us. So hopefully that helps. And you probably have a bit more time to wait before you put your grub control out. All right. So next up, we have Jeremy Espinoza. He has a question here. He says, what seed is similar to Arden 15? I have typically 419, and I have some bare spots that don't grow. Debating on purchasing Monaco seed. Thanks. So here's the thing, Jeremy. I have not seen any of the Bermuda grass seeds that really approach the texture and color of Arden 15 or Princess 77. You didn't ask this question, but as far as fixing bare spots in Bermuda grass, I'm not a fan of using grass seed to do that, because unlike cool season lawns where that's a strategy to fix bare spots, with Bermuda, like hybrid Bermuda tends to be a finer leaf. The growth characteristics are a bit slower, or it's a little bit different anyway, and the color is definitely a lot darker as far as color versus your commons. And once you go out and you introduce a common Bermuda or an improved common like Monaco, like Yukon, you really can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it without damaging the hybrid in the process. So what I always tell folks to do is, if you have a bare spot in the lawn and you know that it's not due to lack of sunlight, not due to a disease problem, nutrient problem, or there's some kind of debris that's causing the grass to not do well there, once the lawn wakes up and is growing well, consider transferring plugs from the parts of your lawn that are doing well to the areas that are bare, and that's going to speed up the process as far as getting the Bermuda to fill in. And the nice thing is you are guaranteed it's going to match. Whereas if you go out and get sod, or you go out and get definitely any kind of grass seed, it's as far as it matching Sifway 419, you're rolling the dice, and I don't think you're going to be happy with how it looks. So yeah. And that's an interesting difference, I'd say, Devin, right? So for a cool season grass, like if you guys have like ryegrass or any kind of damage on the course, like seeding, like a lot of times the mix that's in the golf carts, there's grass seed in that, right, to help patch damaged areas.
Yep. It's actually kind of funny. We're one of the few courses where we just have our seed bottles are just straight sand.
Okay.
We have such an aggressive bluegrass that within a week those divots will heal up on themselves as long as they get filled.
Nice. Yeah, that's
But
cool.
yeah,
So
most courses do.
Most courses do have set, but yours
Yeah.
are so aggressive that it's that it just fills on its own. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so it's more of a cool season thing, Jeremy. Okay. So next up we got someone from Melbourne, Australia, or is it Melbourne? I don't know how you say it properly. I'm probably not saying it right. This is Ollie from Melbourne, Australia. How's it going? Things are going well, man. It's a great night to be on the live stream. If you have questions about cool season turf grass, come over to YouTube. We have Devin here to help out with that. Let's see here. So Jason Harrison's up next. He says, getting closer to the Revolution 26 deliveries. At Lawn Dad has been posting videos. Go check it out after the stream. Looks amazing. What's up, Devin? Looking forward to learning more about cool season grass. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in seeing some footage that's not me or Lee, of someone else running the Revolution 26, I think he posted a video yesterday about the Revolution 26 at the turf park, and it shows him mowing the Bermuda and all different types of way. They do a really much longer review than what I do. So yeah, check it out. Give him some support. Give him some love. I think he's going to be making a lot of content on the Revolution 26. So if you're interested, check out Lawn Dad.
Nice.
All right, next up we got Vahid Navi. He says, hi, everyone. What's going on, Vahid? I believe Vahid's up north as well, too. I'm not sure if it's Canada or wherever, but pretty far up north. Jackie Bear saying, have an excellent stream. What's going on, Jackie? And Zach saying, I got to step into this one. All right. Okay. All right. So we have a question now for that it's good that you're here tonight because there's no way I would know the answer to this. This is from Platinum Exteriors. He says, "Hey Ron, really should be hey Devin. I live in Wisconsin and things have been warm, mid 50s for weeks now. Can we start overseeding here? What do you think?"
You're kind of like right on that fine line. I'd wait till like maybe 55, 60 at soil temps. Get up just a little bit. I'm not sure if you're talking air temp or your soil temps, but I would wait till your soil temps are 55, 60. I mean, if you're in the 50s, you can probably go ahead and put that seed down. You're just not going to see anything until temperatures come up enough to start the germination process. Um, so either way, you can do it now. You just won't see anything until Mother Nature says it's a go.
So it's time. Nice. Cool. And he has a follow-up question. This is a good one. This kind of ties into a lot of the work you've been doing as far as like lawn prep and that type of thing. John Williams is up next. He says he plans on seeding his backyard with some kind of cool season grass due to shade tolerance because of the trees. Do you have any recommendations on sea kelp? I think you're asking, and a procedure on what to put down with it. So I can start with this one. You can chime in if you want, Devin. So as far as kelp, the product that I like is one that we carry from Miramichi Green. It's called NutriKelp. It's a 24% kelp product, along with micronized carbon and other micronutrient. As far as preparing the surface outside of the liquid product, outside the kelp product, I'd also use a granular biostimulant like Essential G or carbonized PN. Either of those will work well, and that's going to really set you up in a good spot. The only other thing I'd say is that if you not sure if you've done a soil test this yet, but as far as a good starter fertilizer, that would be something else that I would add as part of this process as well. So a good starter fertilizer, a granular biostimulant, and then the kelp product that you asked about, which is the 14714. I can give you links to all that as well, while Devin gives his thoughts on it as well.
Yep, I was gonna say everything you just said. I agree with. And then as far as seed type or what kind of seed you'd want to use, I would use either like a ryegrass or a bluegrass. There's different varieties. You just kind of got to do your research and see which ones have the best shade tolerance, and then go from there. Because there's some types that do better in the sun, and then there's other types that do better in the shade. So you just got to kind of do your due diligence and pick which one would be best for your scenario.
Right. Now, of the two, I mean, and here's the thing: you don't have to answer if you don't want to, because I know, I mean, this is a really touchy subject. So, ryegrass versus bluegrass, which is your like? What's your go-to? What's your favorite? What's your thing?
So
You got one.
I love bluegrass.
Okay.
Honestly, right now in the sod that I had installed, I believe I have 5 varieties in there, and then I'm going to be doing an overseed or an interseed, I guess you should say, with 3 more different varieties here in a couple weeks, beginning April, first week of April, when I do all my aeration and all that for the first time. So I'll have 8 different bluegrass varieties in my
Not
yard. So I'm a bluegrass
eight.
guy, but
Wow.
I do love ryegrass. Ryegrass is awesome. It stripes really good. Germination is a million times better on ryegrass. You don't have to be as patient. It's a little more forgiving, how you plant it and what you do with it. Um, but then on the other side, things I love ryegrass because it's rhizomatic. Even though there's some new varieties um, of the ryegrass that has that versus the bluegrass, but I'm definitely a bluegrass guy.
Bluegrass guy. No, it's interesting because you're gonna have like it's like 8 or so different cultivars or varieties of bluegrass. So that's kind of different to Bermuda, like where we pretty much it's like you have one type of Bermuda. It's either Tiffway or Tiff Tough, Tiff Green, Tahoma 31. With cool season lawns, having a blend is really more of a thing. Even when I look at like seeds from Barenberg, it's typically not just one cultivar, it's like multiple. And I guess that's just for resistance and hardiness, and I guess the benefit
Yeah.
of doing a blend is what.
Yeah, just different factors. They all kind of have their one really good strong suit, and then they all kind of come together and create a really good turf system. It's funny. I was actually going to wonder if this would come up. I can actually took a screenshot of the 5 varieties that I currently have in there right now. So I
Sure.
have Showcase, SR 2100, Brilliant, North Star, and Moonlight. And this is all from a sod company here in the Springs that grows sports turf. So the same sod that we buy for the golf course is what I had put in here. And then I bought 10 pounds of 365 SS from Twin City Seed. So that'll be Bolt, Blue Note, and I can't think of the third one off the top of my head, but there's another one that Legend Bluegrass.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Yeah. So that's something that's very different compared to, warm seat like Bermuda or Zoysia. We pick one and that's it. So it's interesting that you guys, like a blend is really that's a fairly common strategy as far as that goes.
Yeah, it's nice. Gives you really good flexibility.
Cool. All right, so we have our super chat, our first super chat of the evening. Actually, we got two. First one is John Williams, and John, I'm sorry, he says
Super chat
he says
received.
like, subscribe, shares, sponsor, please. You got it, John. And we also have Luis Ayabreno. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do both of you guys. That way you guys can both be up for a while because I just saw yours.
Super chat received.
He says, "Good evening. I got my Humic Max / Primo Max sticker. I'm glad you got it." He says, "Also, Soul Test shows everything is good except high pH again. Thoughts on dealing with a pH issue on cool season grass? Thanks." What say you, Devin?
I'm going to try to think of this off the top of my head because I haven't had to do it in a long time. But I want to say, is it dolomitic lime is what lowers
No. So it
pH,
would be
or is that
so
what
as
goes
far as
up?
pH. Yes, if you're trying to bring it up, we any kind of lime will raise. If he's trying to lower, we're gonna have to use like a sulfate of some kind.
So that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So some kind of sulfate is what I would say, Luis. How high is high? You said high. I mean, if some of you guys see like 7.1 and you guys freak out, and that's really while it is you're getting trending more alkaline. It's not it's like you're still within the range. It's really when you start getting 7.3, 7.4, 7.5 is when I would start taking a lot of action. So it just really depends on where you are. So if you get a chance, send me an email. Let me know like what you're actually like what levels we're actually talking about here. And as far as a sulfate, if you want one, and I actually have it up here because we get this question every single week. This is the one that I would recommend. All right, and before I forget, and get the ire. Let me get here at Luis, yep, and then sulfate. Before I forget, and get the ire of Luis and John. Let me get you guys up as a show sponsor. So there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. I'll put it up here because there's not much space. All right. That works. All right. So thank you guys so much. Really do appreciate the super chat. And Luis, depending on how high you're saying how high it really is, it may be nothing to worry about, or worst case, you can use some kind of a sulfate or something to bring it down.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So we have another question. This one is it's a good one. So from Lawn Addict, he says, "So I do have a question. In heat wave conditions, how much extra watering do you do? In Melbourne today, it is almost 40 degrees Celsius, which is 102 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot." Yeah, it's a good point. So as far as your watering strategy on the course, Devin, what do you guys? I mean, is it fairly consistent, or do you guys in the summertime you put more water on the turf? Like, how do you determine how much water you're going to run on the turf at any given day, week, or whatever?
Yeah, so it gets pretty consistent. We 90 degrees, 95 degrees is about as hot as it gets where we are, and that's
Okay.
like pretty warm because we set up pretty high with the altitude. But we use our irrigation computer. We has a weather station, so we kind of base stuff off ET. We also have moisture sensors throughout the course that we get data from that kind of tells us what's going on.
Okay.
And then I have a handheld moisture meter that I use on the greens that tells me what we need to do. And we only water the greens twice a week. Anything else is supplemental hand watering, and
Okay.
maybe a syringe if it's really hot in the mornings, but nothing crazy. And then usually like fairways and rough go back and forth every other night, so they alternate. So they could water 3 or 4 times a week depending on when their cycles start at the week, whatever
Okay.
goes first at the beginning of the week. Teas maybe 2 times, 2-3 times a week max. So it's really not a lot. It's just
Okay.
kind of just every other week, every other day, kind of, and you just kind of monitor it. And then if we don't need as much, you can actually scale down percentages, so we can water, but it won't put out as much as it normally does. So it's set up in minutes, and then there's a percent adjust, so you can adjust that down, and however far up or down you adjust that, it'll add time onto those run times.
Okay.
And then we actually have like hotspot programs. So if say we get a tenth of an inch of rain, we can just run a hotspot program, which will just water the spots that dry out more rapidly than the other spots on the golf course.
So what I'm hearing is we all need to have like moisture like sensors installed in all of our lawns because when you're doing it, there's really no guesswork. Like you know exactly, hey, this area is needs water, and you can apply exactly what you need, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
It sounds like.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
pretty fun. And then I was just gonna say, then you can like, if you really want to kind of go down the nerd path here, you can really drill down into your system, and you can put individual site codes on individual sprinkler heads. So it's essentially like a specific percent adjustment for that individual head. So if there's an area that's
wow.
getting more wet, you can set it to wet, or real wet. And we have those set in our computer in different percentage increments. And then the computer will just do all that calculations through the hydraulics of the irrigation system, and then we'll put that out when we water.
So it's very different. So whereas like in on my lawn I have six, well there's five because there's six zones, but one of them is like the flower beds, which I don't really use. So I've got five zones, and really you can't I can't adjust how much water any particular head puts out on the fly, like what you're talking about. Like I can do it on a zone level, but it sounds like you guys can get a lot more granular down to the irrigation head level, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, essentially almost every head becomes kind of like its own smart controller to a sense.
Nice, nice. So, Milan Attic, I'm not sure if you're on YouTube and you heard that. As far as what I do, because I don't have all the cool tools that Dem was talking about. What with Bermuda, when it begins to get too hot, and it's beginning to dry out, like most turf grasses, the color begins to go away, and if you allow it to, if you don't get water on it, it can actually go into dormancy in the middle of the summer, right? So the telltale sign is the color begins to go away. That's probably the first thing, that it's not as nice, as not as vibrant. And then as it gets more and more extreme, the leaf begins to instead of saying open, it begins to close up. I mean, so you have a lot of indicators before things get out of hand. So I would say, if you, in my case, I run about an inch and a quarter of water per week per zone. If I know I've got, in your case, 100-degree temperatures coming in, right? I'll increase how long I run irrigation by, let's say, 5 minutes for each zone, and that tends to help out. So again, not as precise as what you can do if you have like actual instrumentation, but that's a way to prevent the issue of the turf even beginning to check out. In addition to that, I don't know, you're in Australia, so I'm sure you guys still have access to this. Moisture managers are a great thing. Like I use a product called Hydrotain.
Yep.
Really helps a lot as far as the turf handling higher temperatures and not being as sensitive to that. I don't know on the course, do you guys, I mean, it's a much larger property, so I'm not sure if it's even cost effective for you guys to do that, but do you guys make use of moisture managers on any part of the course, or not at
Uh,
all?
yep. So we use a granular wetting agent on the greens,
Okay.
and then we have a sprayable wetting agent that we spray on tees, green surrounds, rough, fairways. It's pretty much wall to wall when we do
Okay.
that application. So, and then we
Nice.
do that June, July, August,
June,
hottest
July,
times
August,
of
so the
the
hottest times
month.
of the year. Okay.
Yep. And I was going to say, just kind of bouncing back, a good way to test that's just the old school, just the screwdriver test. Trying to stick your screwdriver into the soil. How hard is it? Can you get it in? Can you not get it in? If not, you probably need some water.
Put some water on it. It's a good test. All right. This kind of segues into John's question. We got Gavin Moore saying, good evening. What's going on, Gavin? Good evening. And Jesse Snow saying good evening. And then John Williams says, I just ordered some centipede seed for my front yard that gets sun. What product should I use to put down to increase chance of germination for the centipede grass seed here in Savannah, Georgia? Yes, I've never grown centipede grass, John, but the sequence still, the same thing kind of applies, right? I mean, if you can, do a soil test, and then use a good starter fertilizer with all three macros, or your nitrogen, your phosphorus, your potassium, to help the plant root in particular. And then I'm a big fan of using biostimulants. So like Essential G, Carbonized PN, one of those will help with germination. Carbonized PN, which is really the foundation of Carbon Pro G or Essential G, that's what it was designed for. It was designed for helping to establish new turf grass or establish high value ornamentals. So if you can, that is what I would go with. And I already put links in the chat there as well. So if you look at those, that's exactly what you should need.
Yep, I'd say any like liquid kelp products is really really good too for seed or any new sod, new grass, anything.
Yep. And on that topic, so guys, we'll take a few minutes here. I know we got a lot of questions. We're going to start going through them. But as far as the process of some of you guys are going to be doing renovations throughout this season, right? So you often ask yourself, what should I do as far as renovations go? Like, how do I prepare for it? Should I do a soil test? Like, what inputs should I apply to help get to the point where I'm ready to install sod? So Devin, in the last year, like last fall, I believe is when you started doing it, went through that. So he went through, got a new house built, had sod installed, and I've got pictures of all of it to kind of show you guys. But if you could want to talk through the process, I guess starting from like inputs, your soil tests, and then I can just kind of go through the pictures you have here to help folks, kind of get an idea of how you went about the process of getting your lawn. So from let me see if I get the early November. So this is how his lawn looked in November after the sod was installed. But how do we get to that point?
Basically what I did is, so all the landscaping, all the hardscaping, all that all went in first. Obviously your irrigation, everything was all installed. Before we did any, then we had compost, a topsoil layer got put in. And then before any sod or anything went down, I did a bunch of leveling work, like days and days of leveling work to get everything as smooth as possible. After that, once I was kind of happy where everything was, a handful of amendments went down. Ammonium phosphate, which is an 1152O, went down. And at this point, I hadn't done a soil test. This is kind of just doing this forever. I kind of had a guess of what I wanted to put down and what I thought new sod would need. So 1152O monoammonium phosphate went down. An 1806 fertilizer went down, just for a little bit of nitrogen in the soil. Central G went down. What else did I put down? I put an OO22S for some potassium, went down. And then I sprayed some liquid wetting agent on top of that soil before any sod went down. And then I also applied some hydrotain on top of that granular too before any sod went down. And then it drove me insane at my old house. Sprinkler coverage, I couldn't stand it at my old house. I'd have 5 or 6 spots in my backyard that every other day after an irrigation cycle to run, I'd have to go out there and run hand water and run the hose. So that was really important to me. I wanted the coverage to be really, really good. So probably 2 days before any sod came, it was just tinkering with irrigation coverage, making sure everything was good, especially before I put products down, because I wanted to get everything good and watered in before any sod was even delivered. So leveling, laser grading, getting everything really smooth, kind of compacting that, irrigation check and all that. And then sod came in, kind of grew it in for a little bit. So yeah, here they are. This is laying the sod, which was awesome to see after only having dirt for quite a while in the back. Grew that in. So that was the first day that the sod was down, the first night. And then this might actually shock a lot of you. This was mid-September was when the sod was put down. And then usually mid-November, end of November, everything shuts down. We'll get our first frost and everything's done. So I really only had about a month and a half to 2 months to get this established going into winter. And I really wanted to get it started to train to be mowed low. So I actually was reel mowing the sod the next day that it was laid. So I was mowing it every day until it went dormant, pretty much, just really getting ready. And then I was spraying weekly urea nitrogen, a 1/10 to a 15th of a pound, just to really push it. And then it was getting a bunch of biostimulants as well. And then I have a product that I get from one of our distributors. It's a plant growth stimulator. And that just has a really, really high concentration of like gibberellic acids, cytokines, just really good stuff that really pushes roots on new seed and new grass. And that it's such a concentrated rate. It's like you have to measure it out with a millimeter syringe, and it's like
Oh, wow.
1 millimeter. Like 1 millimeter will treat my entire. It's about 1,500 square feet. Will treat the whole yard. So it's a really
Potent.
potent cocktail. So that was going. I was putting that down every other week, along with the urea and micronutrients, and just trying to kind of guess. And then once I was kind of happy with where stuff was and everything was kind of knitting in and filling in, I did a soil test, and that was in
October,
mid October. So this was my soil test. So this was everything I was just guessing, which I thought the plants in the sod was going to need, which I was pretty close. So obviously the phosphorus was hard because I hit it pretty hard with the 1152O. I wanted to make sure I had enough in the soil. And then that potassium too, which was from that 0022S, which is also that sulfur. Calcium was good. That was another amendment I put down, was a thing of gypsum going into that to kind of help that soil. And the thing I was most happy about when I did that test, that I was most curious about, was my pH. So I was really happy to see my pH kind of right there in that middle range, which was good. And then I was a little high on sodium, and I think that's partially to do with our irrigation water that we have here. I think it's just so clean. We kind of get a little bit of salt buildup. It doesn't flush as much as I'd like. So I actually have a black gypsum from Anderson's that I'll be putting in this spring, a smaller rate in July, midsummer, and then next fall going into winter. And I'll test it in October and see if I can kind of drop that sodium level down a little bit, and then see if I can balance the phosphorus and the potassium. And then I'll get into a regular granular program with the nitrogen, and we'll see if that nitrogen should come up a little bit.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is you can definitely see. You said you went heavy on the potassium and the phosphorus and potassium inputs, and it's definitely reflected here in the test.
So I keep that all logged on my phone, so I can actually go back and look to see how much of that I actually put down. So let's see here. So I did do 12024 went down with that as well.
Okay.
When I did that, so
also making potassium high.
Yeah. So that 1152O, it went down at 0.96 pounds per thousand. Really fine micro prill. Really, it's a greens grade. Really, really fine. So I got 0.11 pounds of nitrogen out of that, and it was a half pound of phosphorus. So I wasn't surprised when that came up like that.
Nice. Yeah. It's very cool. And the lawn grew in nicely, because these pictures that you sent me. So like, this is early November, which is looking legit. I mean, that color looks really good. And then December, you can see it started to check out a little bit, but still looks solid.
Yep, and you can kind of see too, which I'll be excited when I top dress here in a few weeks. You can kind of see some of those seams that didn't really have enough time to knit together as much as I would have liked. But that'll all get remedied here this season.
Yeah, you got January looking good, and then mid-February, so last month.
Yep, a little bit of green starting to come up. Yep.
Nice. Now, for your top dressing, you mentioned top dressing. When are you planning to top dress, and what are you using?
So I'm gonna it'll be the first week. I always time it when we do our greens aeration at the course. I always do it. We aerate during the week, and then I do all my aeration on the lawn that weekend. So it'll be the first weekend of April.
Okay.
I'm gonna be aerating. I'll probably do a couple directions on that. I'm gonna dethatch, verticut. I haven't really decided. I might do one. I'll probably do 2 directions on that. And then I'm going to do a light overseed on top of that, get that all in. And I will be pulling the cores off as well, obviously, since I'll be real mowing. And then I have about just shy of probably about 1,800 pounds of USGA sand, and I'm mixing that by hand. Yeah, here it is, with carbonized PN. So it's about, I want to be more heavy on the sand. So it's about a 90-10 mix is what it comes out to. So
90% USGA sand, 10% carbonized PN. Nice.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of compost materials before. It is pricey, but you get exactly what you're paying for. If you're thinking about using that carbonized PN, I would highly recommend getting it. It's probably the cleanest compost material I've ever seen. It's a really, really good material.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff, man. I mean, I've top dressed the front lawn with just that a couple of times, and it's, to your point, like there's no trash, there's no debris. I actually saw how it was made. It's been 2 years ago at this point, and like what it starts as and then what it becomes is really impressive. And if you see the number of like screening processes that Miramichi puts it through, and then there's also some other processes that they do that they wouldn't. I mean, I saw them, but I couldn't film them and show you guys.
Mhm.
But the net result is it's an excellent product. Again, it's an awesome compost, and I'm glad someone that does it for a living can see a lot of value out of it too. So
Yeah.
good
So yeah,
stuff.
if you're thinking about using it, I would highly recommend using it. It's good stuff. I was pretty shocked when I opened the first bag and pulled out a handful, and I was like, wow, this is pretty clean stuff. This is awesome.
Yep, yep, yep. It is good. It's funny. I spoke about like creating a like a top dressing blend, kind of like what Supersod does with it, but just logistically of the logistics of doing that is kind of tough, right? Because shipping sand around is like sand's really
A
heavy.
lot of weight. Yeah.
It's a lot of weight, so it's easier to do
Yeah.
what you did, like order just the carbonized PN, like either in bags or like a super sack, and then make the blend yourself. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
gonna
And
that's pretty
that's
cool.
kind of fun too, because then, like for it's just kind of, you can do whatever you need to do for what you're trying to achieve. Gives
Yep.
you a little more flexibility, which is kind of fun too.
Nice, awesome stuff. Cool. So first week of April, top dressing time. Nice, we like it. You
Yep.
gotta keep us posted.
Yep, and we'll do.
All right. So let me get here. I got a bunch of questions, and folks are probably like, man, let me speed up here because we are behind. Hook and Pull says, hope Ron, everything is well. I am. Thanks so much. Um, and he says, hey Ron, let's raffle a bag of carbonized PN, and I'll throw in some swag. Let me know. Yeah. So we have someone from Miramichi on, and they will what they're saying is that just Devin's talking about carbonized PN and singing all of its praises, wants to give away a bag of it. I'm trying to think of how we would do that. I'll tell you what. So don't obviously leave this week's live stream. What we can do is, and again, this is I am literally tempting the demo gods by doing this because I didn't prepare for this, but we're going to try it. So what you guys can do is you're going to have to comment on last week's live stream, because the software that I use has to look at the stream, like the stream is over, like it has to be finished before you can comment on it. Like you can't comment on this one that's going on right now. So I'll give you guys the link to last week's one. And if you guys want to go in there and just make a comment saying, whatever. I mean, if you comment on it, you're in the. Actually, it's not. Let's make it fair. You have to comment. I want carbonized PN. So that's how we will separate the people that just have commented from last week to the people that are live tonight that have the opportunity to win. What are we doing? A bag of carbonized PN and some swag. All right. So here's the link. And again, I am going to do my best here. Hopefully, I don't. Everything works the way it's supposed to. So go to this video from last week and comment here. And your comment needs to be, I want carbonized PN. Don't comment like multiple times, because it's not going to make a difference. The software only looks for one time. So if you're trying to spam it, it's not going to work. But that's what you guys need to do. Don't leave this live stream because you got to be present to win. But go there, comment, I want carbonized PN, and I will try and figure this out, how to make this happen on the show tonight.
Nice.
Thanks, guys. And yeah, they're saying 40 pounds treats 1,000 square feet. So there you go. So as far as top dressing, you got something cool to play with. All right. Next up, we have Will Covey. Will Covey is in the house. He says, did my Tenacity app with a T-Jet, the foliar tip, I think. The flood tip for pre-emergent today. I started pre-germinating GCI Cool's blue seed on Monday. I am putting down this weekend. How does Tenacity play with pre-germinating? So you ever done any of that, Devin, as far as using, because I know a lot of folks will use Tenacity to help clean up weeds in a lawn, help prevent a lot of weeds from coming in, and then use it as part of a seeding project.
I've actually never used it. If you were doing a full renovation, I would absolutely use it, just because more soil and stuff would be available for weeds to fill in. But Tenacity plays really good with germinating seed. There's no problem with it. Actually, when I was in New York, we would have a company would come in and hydro seed areas on the course, and Tenacity was actually mixed in with that hydro seed mix. So after a couple of days, you would see white dead weeds coming up, but then you'd see fresh baby ryegrass coming up next to it. So
Nice.
yeah, no problem using tenacity with seed. Just make sure you're reading the label and not over applying or anything like that. But it sounds like you probably do if you got the right nozzle on your sprayer. So you should be good to
Sounds
go.
good. Sounds good. Yeah, and I will. The gentleman from Dreamer Michi, I'll let you know after the show, like who ends up winning. So, all right, cool. No, I need to show you guys. So Devin did talk about he's going to be real mowing, and it looks like you got two mowers. You got a manual push mower, which any person that's worth their salt at some point is going to own a manual push reel mower. And if I can find it, here we go. So this is looks you got a Craftsman there doing its thing,
Yep. So yeah, that's
and then
all. I haven't used the big guy yet on the yard. So once it's in, I was using that every day when I was getting home from work, mowing. And then that's the Greensmaster I got when we got rid of some equipment at work. So I took that home with me. Got it all serviced up by one of our mechanics, and 14 blade reel groomer on it. We used to use that. It used to mow tees at the course. So now it's gonna mow the yard at 3/4 of an inch. So I'm really excited. Probably late April, early May, it'll be its first run on the grass once there's no sand.
yeah, it's a nice. You got the groomer the groomer on that and everything. That's clean, man. So what blade is that? 11 or what blade?
14
14. Oh,
blade.
you're messing around.
So yeah, it
14.
used to be one of our T mowers.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Okay, guys, so I have the software queued up. Looks like it is gonna work, I think. So yeah, we'll let this run for a little while, and then later on in the show, we'll draw a winner. All right, cool. All right, so great question, Will, about tenacity and pre-germinating grass seed and how it all plays nice together. All right, next up is Kevin Barriga. He says, Ron, always good to see you. Can I apply lime and pre-emergent at the same time in New York? So when you say at the same time, you mean on the same day? Yes. The same time, that's typically kind of tough to do. So I'd say this: if you need to raise your soil pH, apply a lime that is appropriate based on what your soil test results say. If you need to also raise magnesium levels as well, apply a dolomitic lime. If you don't need to raise magnesium, just do a calcitic lime. And I would do that first, and then I would apply your pre-emergent afterwards and water it in, and you can go off and enjoy life. So the reason behind that is, if you think about it, you apply the pre-emergent first, the grass is wet, kind of tacky, and then you go and put lime down. Like you really want the lime to be in the soil, kind of like pre-emergent. You want to get it in the soil for it to work. So applying it to a wet lawn, once you water it, it's still going to end up in the soil. I'm a fan of applying the dry stuff first, and then any liquids afterwards. And also, if you're doing granular pre-emergent, I'm a fan of doing the sides last. So any kind of side, fungicide, insecticide, herbicide, if you're doing that, do that last. Because I don't want you to go out and put that down, and then you're walking through the lawn putting down lime as well too. Just minimize your exposure to the stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't have said it better.
Nice. So see, there you go, guys. Ooh, I got one right. So I feel good. All right, Kevin. So hopefully that helps, sir. And if you need anything else, let me know. Don't go out and get your lime app down. And again, you didn't ask this, but as far as rate, I find 20 to 40 pounds per thousand, somewhere in that range for residential lawns works pretty well. All right, speeding up. Next up, we have already got that. He says, I'm about to put down centipede seed, but I see there's some wheats in the ground. Can I put down Celsius to kill the weeds, or should I just throw the seed down and worry about it later? Yeah, so Celsius is not going to affect grass seed that hasn't germinated. So if you wanted to go out and spray any kind of weeds that are in your lawn and then apply Celsius on the same day, then plant your grass seed the same day, it's not going to have a negative impact. Celsius is a post-emergent herbicide. It needs leaf to be present for it to actually work. So by the time you put the grass seed down, water it, it begins germinating. You're going to be fine. So to answer your question, if you want to control the weeds prior to seeding the lawn, you can absolutely do that. And honestly, it's probably what I would do, because while Celsius, as far as herbicides go, for warm season grasses, is a nice one, is relatively kind as herbicides can be, you still really don't want to spray new turf grass with herbicide if you can avoid it. You know what I mean? It's just it's still a stressor. So I would opt to clean up the weeds now versus doing it on grass that's a couple weeks old, 6 weeks old. You know what I mean? So good stuff. And that's a good point. So when you guys do, I mean, you guys are probably not doing new turf grass on the golf course, but let's say your home lawn. Not that you have any weeds. We know you're not gonna have any weeds in your lawn. But how long would you wait before you did any kind of post-emergent herbicides on your lawn if you're just trying to be safe?
I'd probably give it at least a season,
Okay.
at least a half a season at the most. Just make sure everything's rooted in and like growing good and healthy before you stress anything out. Um, my philosophy has always been that you should have good agronomic practices and not have to do any herbicides. Like I've never done. We do it at the course just because there's so much area. But like in my old house and in this house, I've never done pre-emergent. I have a little 1 gallon mix up a 2,4-D that here and there I'll have to go out and spot spray some dandelions, but nothing crazy. If you don't have to broadcast or blanket spray herbicides, it's just better not to.
Nice. Yeah. So you're doing your integrated pest management. You're saying you minimize chemicals as much as possible. I like it.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. All right. Next up is No Name. He says, "Hey Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts, my yard is about 10% green." I mean, that means 90% dormant. We'll focus on the positive. 10% green it is. It says, "Sending out my soil tests for the spring. Glad to have you, Devin. Let's get those likes up." Yeah, guys. So we have 120 something people in the live stream. Only 57 likes. Surely we can do better than that. So if you guys are enjoying the content, please feel free to hit that like button. It costs absolutely nothing. It's a free way to support the channel. And if you guys wouldn't mind, please do that. Here's the thing, guys. We've already announced about how to win the bag of carbonized PN. So, you guys don't have to worry about by doing that. You can get more competition in. So hit the like button. It's the least you can do. All right. Next, we have Team Clark Track and Field. Says, "Hello, all. I just did my first, just did the first mow of the season. First mow of the season, and I applied Carbon Pro G. We'll apply pre-emergent early in the morning, located in Northern Virginia." I like it. So you got your biostimulant down, and you're going to prevent weeds. I dig it. I like it. Good. Sounds like a good plan. So this is a question from Vahid Nabi. I guess it's related to cool season grass. He says, "My question is about Fireball and Hat-Trick ryegrass seed. Are they good in the shade? My other question is about scarifying and core aeration. Can I do both together? And which one can I do first?"
Sure. So off the top of my head, I'd have to look up Fireball and Hat-Trick ryegrass seed. You can look them up, and it'll tell you sun tolerant, shade tolerant, whichever, and pick whichever one from there. And then as far as scarifying and core aeration, absolutely, you can do that together. We do it at the golf course. I'm going to be doing it here on my yard in April. I'm going to be aerating 2 different directions and probably scarifying, verticutting, whatever you want to call it, 2 different directions. So they go hand in hand. You can certainly do both of them together, especially if you're going to be doing seeding. It's good to have the holes from the aeration, and then it's also good to have some slits and some channels to get that seed down and in for good germination.
Nice. You know what is it with you cool season guys? You guys have like really cool names for your grass seed. Fireball, Hat-Trick. We get like Arden 15, Tahoma 31. We don't get any. You guys, your grass seed. Like you guys get really cool names. Really creative on the grass seed names for sure. All right. Justin Judkins, he says, "Hey Ron, I've been finding some June bug carcasses in my yard the last couple of days. Should I be concerned?" No, I really wouldn't be too worried about it. We're still early as far as doing an insecticide. Like I've done a Celiprin, like late March, early April. That works well for me. I'm not sure where you are in the country, Justin, but I mean, if you're in the Southeast United States, late March, early April time frame is a good time to get your insecticide out to help keep grubs and other lawn damaging insects at bay. But it's really based on where you are in the country, like timing. So for example, for me, I'm going to be doing it like early next month. In your case, Devin, if you guys were doing insecticide, I imagine April is late March, early April probably too early, or
we really don't. Luckily, where we live, we really don't have too many problems with bugs or or grubs or anything. We get it's usually in July, so it's
Okay.
really late. We get a thing called, it's the black turfgrass Athenius beetle. We'll get those on the greens, and we'll do a granular insecticide on a closed Monday and water that in. That's the only insecticide we ever use. We've had it on occasion one time in the almost 10 years I've been there. We had grubs in the fairways, and then I believe we just sprayed that with bifenthrin, and we've used
Mhm.
lambdicide before in the past.
Nice. Sounds good. So there you go, Justin. Golf Junkie's up next. He has a question. He says, Devin, so about 6 hours north of you, and the weather has been unseasonably warm. If I put down pre-emergent dithiopyr and it freezes, is that a problem?
Mm, yes and no. I would just wait until we kind of really more consistent soil temps and air temps before you put anything down, just to play it safe. I mean, you could get away with it, but it would be a real bummer if, for whatever reason, something happened and Mother Nature, with whatever, affected that barrier, and you kind of wasted your product and your time. So I would just wait until we get good consistent soil temps, 55-ish, and then good consistent air temps before doing anything.
Nice. All right. Next up, we got Short Grass Living. He says, hey, Ron and Devin, with several cool season grass seed types coming out, claiming to be heat tolerant. This kind of sounds like shade tolerant Bermuda. Do you know if there have been any able to survive summers in areas like Northeast Texas? I don't know the answer to this. I know I'll tell you what, this much, Short Grass Living. I had ryegrass in a planter on my back porch, and I would water it, and I thought I babied it, and as soon as like June hit, it got burnt to a crisp. It was not going to live in the temperatures we get here in Georgia, and I imagine Central Texas is going to be as hot or hotter. So I don't know. I don't know. What I mean, I'm not sure, Devin, you guys only get like in the 90s. Have you heard about how well like the heat tolerant cool season grasses, how they would work?
No, I haven't done much looking into that. I'm sure there could be some. I'm just not really aware of it, but I'm sure wherever that area is, you probably could find a local extension office, and they probably have some research or some scholar articles about a new grass seed that they're working on in trials.
Sure. Yeah, I can tell you, Short Grass Living, the only cool season grass around here that does all right during the summer months, and again, when I say all right, means you have to put like a ungodly amount of water on it to keep it alive, is fescue.
I was going to say
Like you don't see
fescue.
ryegrass lawns around here. You don't see Kentucky bluegrass lawns around here. You do see fescue. Like in the neighborhood that I live, a lot of the common areas that have shade, that are shaded, have fescue. And some buildings, some government buildings also have fescue lawns. So that, as far as a cool season turf grass type that tolerates heat better, that's something I would look into. But as far as the other ones, I don't know. I've never tried any of them. Tell you what, if you let me know the names of a cultivar that you're looking at, I'll plant some. I'll get like not on my lawn, obviously. I'll get like a pot or something to put it in, and I'll plant it, and we can test it if you guys want. But yeah, give me some names. My email, you should know it. It's ron@golfcourselawn.com. Let me know which one you're looking at, and I'll see if I can get some, and we can try it out and monitor it this year, because it gets plenty hot here in Georgia. That will kill most rye and bluegrass cultivars. So
Nice. That'd be kind of fun. I'd be curious to see that.
yeah, yeah. And here's the thing: I don't, to make sure it's fair, I may have to get a bigger planter, because the one that I had was like I don't know, it was like 18 inches by 6 inches, and when it gets hot, like the outside of that gets pretty hot. So that's probably, the soil temperatures are probably a bit warmer than what's representative of what the lawn would be. So I may have to get a bigger one to make it more fair, a better test. So, but yeah, let me know. Let me know, Short Grass Living, and I'll get some. We'll try it. All right. Next up, we have Team Clark Track and Field. Says, in Northern Virginia with turf type tall fescue, what is the earliest I can apply fertilizer in the spring? I usually apply 3 to 4 pounds of N per year, with heavy applications in the fall. Thanks.
Nice. So my first app will be when I aerate and do all that. So when stuff starts growing, your soil's not frozen, you can go ahead and put that down. Just basically once the grass is going and it's going to uptake that nutrients.
Nice.
But yeah, mostly just as long as your soil's not frozen, you can get it down.
Yep. So I don't have turf type tall fescue, and I'm not in Virginia, but like this week, With my lawn, it's beginning to green up. The green fuzz is well and alive on the front lawn. The back lawn's coming in nicely. So I did the 12-0-24 on my lawn this past week. So yeah, as long as
Nice.
there's no freezing. Now, granted, I did that, so now I'm going to cause like freezing weather to come happen. But there's nothing in the forecast, so the lawn should be just fine. So hope that helps. Thanks for that, Devin. Okay, let's speed up here. We got Zach Daily Focus ST says, "Hey Ron, I sent you, when you get around to it, I send an update email on the Baron Brug RPR survive 100 plus degree temps and with minus 15 temps. Yeah, so send it to me, and yeah, so I got the email. I'll take a look at it. Zach, and I'll give it a shot. I mean, if it's yeah, I'll get some and try it out. All right, next up we have Aaron Pate. It's a good question. He says, Ron, can you talk about what you think the pros and cons are of an organic slow release like Milorganite versus a quick release synthetic fertilizer? Uh, yeah, so there's some people that don't want synthetic products on their lawn. They just don't want it on the property, and they prefer a more organic type approach. And that's where products like the 444 that we carry from Miramichi Green or like Milorganite can come in. You know, in my opinion, the benefits of a lot of synthetics, they the synthetic blends have a lot going for them over just purely organic. So a good example, right? You look at like the Lebanon fertilizers that we carry. Yes, while there's a synthetic component to it, like it's not just one type of nitrogen. There's three or
Mhm.
four different types of nitrogen that are in that product, in addition to a kelp product, in addition to humic acid. So while you look at it and you say it's a synthetic fertilizer, it's really like a synthetic fertilizer and biostimulant in the same product. So for unless you're someone that just really wants just to stick with an organic approach to your granular fertilizer, there's a lot to be said for using a synthetic, using a good high quality blended synthetic one. I tested this last year. So in the back lawn, I used the fertilizers from Lebanon, like I used Humic Max, and on the front lawn, I used just the 444, the 444 fertilizer from Miramichi. The thing that I saw is at least for the first application, like the 12024 or Humic Max, 5 days later, it lights off. You're going to see a nice color response. The turf is like loving life, right? The 444, it took a longer time to ramp up, but then once it's like the machine is started where the microbes are like breaking it down and making it available to the plant, and as long as you keep feeding it, there's not a ton of difference once you get it going. So synthetic is a lot faster. I think you can get more creative with a lot of the blends. And as far as coverage goes, you get more coverage for your money with synthetics versus organic. So it just really
Yeah.
depends on you. It really depends. If you had like a vegetable garden, I would obviously use organics. If you are only want an organic approach to your lawn care program, I would use organics. And Miramichi allows you to do that, and that you can use like their organic biostimulants, you can use the fertilizer, you can use the liquid products. If you want to go strictly organic, right, like limiting how much synthetic products you use, like the Miramichi section on the golf course lawn store has got you covered. But I think personally, there's a benefit to some of the better synthetic fertilizer blends, like the ones that Lebanon carries.
Yep.
What about you guys? Do you guys, as far as fertilizers go, Devin, is it synthetic, organic? How do you guys balance that?
Our big bulk fertilizer is it is an organic fertilizer, but it takes a lot to achieve what you want. It's believe it's like a 1602 or something like that,
Okay.
off the top of my head. So it's a higher end rate, but a lot of the organic stuff that's available to homeowners, it's a lower end rate. So it takes more product to achieve whatever end amount you're going for versus synthetic fertilizer. But yeah, then on the greens, it's all soluble and synthetic. But our big bulk one is organic, and that's mostly just because we can't amend those areas that often. So we
Mhm.
use that organic as kind of an amendment too, because they have other properties and characteristics that synthetic doesn't have.
Good point. Yes, right. So a good example as well too, as far as like higher amounts of humate, a microbial package, like a lot of that. You
Mhm.
find you get a lot of that in your synthetics or in your organics, whereas synthetics, unless you get like Humic Max or the Complete or the Stress, like very few synthetic fertilizers will also incorporate humic acid and kelp as part of the blend. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
so hope that helps, Aaron. Both can work. You're going to spend more going the strictly organic route as far as coverage goes. And I personally think that if it were me, I'm a big fan of the Lebanon fertilizers. They're really good stuff. That's why I use them. That's why I carry them. I think they're great stuff. So, all right. Next up, we have Nick Hilmo. He says, "Hey Ron, I just got my soil tests. pH is good, but the nutrients are low across the board. Here's the thing, Nick. While that may be discouraging to you, if I had to pick one thing to be in the good zone on a soil test, it would be the
Yep.
pH, because that's the
Yep.
hardest thing to quickly change. You know, all the other stuff you can a couple of months you can make a big adjustment. A good example. So Devin, when you did the inputs preparing for your sod install, like how much time was between the time you did all those inputs and you took the soil test sample?
Let's see. We probably had about a month and a half, I'd say.
Okay, so
So
a month and a half. Now,
everything
granted,
was,
we don't know where the soil was before, but
yeah,
still,
exactly.
it shows like a month and a half in, like this are where the levels look like, right? You can see what the phosphorus and the potassium did. So it doesn't take long to correct that. pH can be months,
Yeah.
some cases
Seasons.
years, depending on
Yeah.
where the soil
How
really
bad it
where
is.
it wants to buffer, where it wants to be. So
And
you have the
that was
one thing that's
one,
really good. Good.
and that was one reason I really wanted to do that test, because I had no idea what my pH was in this area.
Mhm.
So that I was really curious about that, because obviously high or low, that's one of the things that would need to be adjusted like immediately.
Sure. Yep. And that's why as far as doing a soil test in the fall, why I'm such a huge fan of it, because pH can take such a long time to I'd say correct or to adjust. That knowing that data in the fall, especially when the turf's starting to slow down and you can do multiple inputs if you need to, it's a great time to do it, because like literally people don't realize how important like having the pH in that Goldilocks zone in the
Yep.
6 to 7 range is, because it makes, like, you go out and you spend a bunch of money on fertilizer and some of the nutrients, like you think about, like, think
Not
about this, as
available.
not available. Yeah, as soon as you get more, especially more alkaline, like your micronutrients, like iron,
Yep.
like unless you're going to start spraying them in liquid form, like you put it in the soil in granular, they're just not available for uptake.
Not available.
So
Yep.
it's really
Exactly.
important to get that right. So yeah, glad. So Nick, I'm sorry that your pH is, or that your macros are low, but that's I wouldn't really worry about it, because your pH, your power hydrogen is in good shape, and that's what we that's the thing that's harder to fix. All right, so next up we have Veronica Slow, not Veronica Fast, but Veronica Slow. She says, I did a fescue overseed in Georgia. It's 2 weeks now, and I don't see any sprouts. The existing grass is about ready to be cut. If it needs to be cut, how low do I go? It's a good question.
So I was gonna say, I'm guessing if 2 weeks, I guess you can get fescue can germinate in 2 weeks. My guess is it's probably not getting enough water. Your seed's probably not getting wet enough, or you don't have a good enough seed to soil contact.
Mhm.
And then I guess I probably wouldn't mow fescue. What is 4 or 5 inches
4 or 5
is what
inches.
that like is probably kind of the ballpark I would go to mow fescue.
Yeah. So Veronica, so the thing that you said here is you did an overseed versus, and as part of that overseed process, did you just throw it down on an existing lawn, or did you do any kind of like dethatching, verticutting, turf rake, something to kind of thin it out to improve that seed to soil contact? 'Cause if you didn't do that, it's, pretty much the fescue is going to be like an invader that the existing grass is competing with. So that's all those things could be why you're seeing the slower germination. Plus, it's only been 2 weeks, so there's that too. All right, so hopefully that helps. Next up is this is a good one. He says, "Hey Ron, is there a standard value for pounds of nutrient per 1,000 square feet increase in parts per million of that nutrient? I just got my soil test back, and my nutrients are low across the board." Devin, I'll let you chime in on this as well too, but I'm gonna say not as a general rule, Nick, because it depends, right? So if you a perfect example, let's say you are using like an organic fertilizer, right? Like this is a good example to be able to make this work. Like the amount of pounds of that you're going to have to apply versus a synthetic, it's going to be different. As far as also, like if we take it to just the nitrogen percentage, the kind of nitrogen also matters too. You know what I mean? Like you have
Mhm.
some nitrogen that's slow release that will tend to stick around in the soil a bit longer. If you have a product that has more of like a urea product, like our nitrogen, that's not going to be around as long. So in my mind, no, there's not like a cut and dry, easy way of saying this amount of N or this amount of product is going to create this much of an improvement. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Devin?
No, I wouldn't say there's like a real set amount. I think I would probably just start with a good anywhere from like a quarter to a half pound of just a really
Hmm.
well balanced fertilizer, and then just go with that for the season, and then test again and see where that has brought you. Would
Sure.
be my approach. But yeah, you
Yeah.
make a really good point about the different types of nitrogen. For a month and a half, I was spraying a tenth to a 15th of a pound of nitrogen, urea 4600 every
Hmm.
week, and then you look at my soil test, and it says there's no nitrogen there. So it's really
Not in the
important
soil.
what kind of nitrogen you're using or what you need for your application.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good point. Devin. So Nick, yeah, hopefully that helps. Just get a good balanced fertilizer. Like our 14-7-14 is a good option. Apply that regularly and test. Test again and see what effect it makes. That's why I'm a fan of doing at least two soil tests a year. One in the spring to kind of determine your program, and then one in the fall to see how well it's worked. In your
Mhm.
case, if you're really worried about it, you could do one mid-season, but you really want to give it a good 4 weeks, maybe even a little bit longer if you can, between the last granular input and when you pull cores, so that you're not skewing the numbers. But yeah, it's really one of those
Yeah.
things. Yeah, go ahead, Devin. Sorry.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, just agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as the there's too many variables to be able to say this amount of N is going to create this much movement as far as parts per million across all soil types. There's a lot of variables that can make a difference there. So hope that helps, sir. I'll link a fertilizer for you in the chat if you're looking for one, and if you need anything else, let me know. All right, Tom V's up next. He says, "Hey Devin, I think it's Devin, but you guys come to Devon. I think it's Devin. This is IN. Hey Devin, love it when you join. What are your plans for getting your cool season lawn ready for the year? Also, what is your fertilizer plan? Do you use any carbon supplements?"
Yeah, so this actually might be Rachel's uncle, to be honest with you, because at our wedding he was saying that he's a fan of your show, actually watches, but
Okay.
didn't know that I had been on before. So this actually might be him if I'm guessing right. Um, but what are my plans for my cool season lawn ready for this year? So kind of set the groundwork up last fall, so we're kind of good to go there. Got some aerating, dethatching, a little bit of interseeding that I'm going to do. And then we'll swing in probably the beginning of May through the rest of the season. We'll get onto the PGR program for it, my liquid fertilizer program, micronutrient liquid program. Um, I spray every Friday, not the same things. It's like an alternating spray program. So one week it's whatever batch, and then the next week it's the other batch. Um, and then a granular app, about a half a pound of N, the beginning of each month, and then mid-season there'll be some soil amendments that'll go in. Um, yeah, and then top dressing too here coming up before too long as
Nice.
well to get everything smoothed out. So we should be good, and then hopefully by May we'll drop it down and be mowing at 3/4 of an inch.
And mind you, know this, Devin, that they are all taking notes. They can steal your program and try and so make sure you hold something back. Hold a little something back from them.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. So hope that helps, Tom. So one thing you mentioned was Primo. That's a good point because I always tell people there's life before Primo Max, before growth regulator, and life afterwards.
Yep.
For someone that's brand new to growth regulator, like as far as introducing it to their program or how you begin ramping it up, like how do you guys go about it on the course, or what would be like some tips or recommendations you would give for getting a good result with growth regulator?
So on the greens, it's a handful of PGRs that go into that, and they're all different rates depending on temperature, how fast stuff's growing. So that's all kind of just as need be. And then fairways and rough and everything else, wall to wall, gets a full Primo app because it's we only can spray that stuff once a month, so we need to do rate that'll carry us 1 month for clippings. But then as far as when I do it at my house, since it's going to be pretty young grass, and then I'm going to have seedlings coming up hopefully as well, I'll probably start that off. I'll probably go. I usually do split applications. I can't think of what the rate for primo is off the top of my head. Let me pull it up here.
Cool season grass. I think it's like I don't know. It's like point 0.6 to
So I'm going to
0.8
be
ounce.
doing a split rate. So it'll be 0.125 ounces per thousand. So 3.7 millimeters is how I measure that out. And then that first month, I'll probably do half of that half just to kind of get the grass used to it, because it's never experienced it before. And then see how it does that first app, and then if I don't get any bronzing or any like weird reactions to it, then I'll go up to that regular split half rate, and then the rest of the summer it'll just be that half rate going probably till September
Okay.
sometime in there, maybe a little bit into October, depending on how much it's grown and what the weather's like.
Nice. Yeah. So it's interesting. So because it never fails. Summertime rolls around, and there's gonna happen. I'm gonna get a question where someone says, "Hey, it's the first time using Primo, and I went like full rate, and I did the math wrong, and it's like they went too heavy." So in your case, you're a fan of slowly introducing it to the plant and then ramping up over time. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. And then once next season, then it'll just be, after it's used to it for a full growing season, that first app will just be that initial full half rate, and then we'll just carry it there. But just to get it used to the beginning of kind of it's going, what the heck is happening here?
What's happening to
Just kinda
me?
get used to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like training wheels. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like when you mow it, when you drop your height of cut down, you got to teach the plant what you want it to do.
Nice. See, plants have feelings too. All right. Matt the mailman says, "Say, what is a good indicator I can actually start lawn work like thatching? I don't want to start too early, and our winter has been mild and without snow." So that's a good point. So when would you do your first dethatching or
Um,
thinning out?
at my old house, I've done it as early as early March, mid March, just as long as the soil's not frozen still. If you can get a screwdriver into the soil profile, a good 4 or 5 inches, and you're probably good to go. But I wouldn't go out if your yard's fully frozen. I wouldn't rip a dethatcher across the top of it, and probably wouldn't like that too much.
Right. Yeah. So I guess common sense, make sure it's thought out and then go. And the thing is, Matt, you can always make multiple passes. Like I'm a fan when it comes to any of those kind of cultivation practices, verticutting, turf raking, if you need to, dethatching, like go light, go easy. There's no reason to, to drop it down and try and carve huge channels in the turf. You can just slowly do it and see how it responds. So all right. Next up we got Sean Murphy. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron and Devin. Cutting zoysia at 0.60. What height do you recommend I scalp at next weekend?" I'm in Tampa, Florida. So Sean, I'm a fan of going a quarter. I mean, in your case, I was going to say half an inch, but not half inch in your case. So a quarter of an inch below where you intend to maintain the lawn. So if you're at 0.60, so they say 5/8 thereabouts. If you want to scalp it at 0.4 0.35, that's about as low as I'd go. You're gonna minimize how much stress you're gonna be giving the turf if you do that. You're gonna minimize the chances of you getting your reel into the dirt, which is gonna mean sending it out for a sharpen and grind. And I don't really think it's strictly necessary to go that low, to go that aggressive. You know what I mean? So I would say pick a quarter of an inch or so below where you intend to maintain it. Do your scalp and then let the grass grow back in and enjoy. Yeah. And this is all this scalp talk is probably sounds like crazy talk to you cool season guys, right? Because you guys don't do any kind of scalping, I imagine, of cool season turf grass on the
No, no scalping.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go, Sean. So hope that helps. And here's the thing. I mean, just a thought. You might want to consider like 0.75. I'm just saying, like I've done some testing, and that's a nice height to cut as far as getting a lot of the benefits without creating a lot more work for yourself. But again, you got zoysia, so zoysia at 0.6 is probably going to be okay. It doesn't grow that fast. All right, Lon Guido says, "When should I apply Lawn Lux 707 in Dallas?" I I don't know, whenever the lawn is woken up, you're starting to see green come through. It's the question is like insert any fertilizer whenever the lawn is greening up, and you want to start feeding it. You can. So if you got green coming through on your lawn, then you can start introducing fertilizer. I mean, that's not a whole lot of nitrogen or potassium, so I mean, I really wouldn't
Nice.
be too concerned about it. Let's see here. So this is a good one. We'll throw this one to you, Devin. He says, "How do you guys feel about weed and feed products at this time of year? And what could I do that is a better option than those big box store weed and feed products?"
Yeah, that's a good question. I myself, I've never used a weed and feed, so I don't really have much experience with the products. I know a lot of people probably have with them, depending on what they got going on in their yards. Um, some other options you could do other than the big box store weed and feeds, I guess. If you still want to put like a pre-emergent down or something like that, you could always go like just a regular product that doesn't have any fertilizer in it. That's kind of a tough question. Or if you want to do like a spray,
Mhm.
if you don't want to do those kind of weed and feed products, or don't use it at all and just kind of do an IPM strategy on your yard.
Yeah. Yeah, John. So I mean, as far as weed and feed, like I can think about it. Like for example, we carry what you could consider a weed and feed product that is like a 007, right? So it's got some potassium in it, but that's about it. Um, I am a fan of like an a la carte approach. Like for my pre-emergent, I want it to just be, for the most part, just to be pre-emergent. And if I want to add anything else to it, I'll do that. A lot of the weed and feed products that you'll see at the big box stores, they'll have like higher amounts of nitrogen, higher, like, you're talking like in excess of 10% nitrogen,
Mhm.
in excess of in some cases 15% potassium. And I think for a way to wake the lawn up, I mean, if you do it once, it'd be okay. I guess it could be fine. But as far as like a way of regularly feeding the lawn, I wouldn't do that. Like most people use weed and feed products incorrectly. Like if you look at the ingredient in most of them, the feed part or the weed part is a pre-emergent,
Yeah.
and there's no reason to apply that stuff on your lawn. Like you're literally broadcasting like herbicide across your lawn every time you fertilize it, which I'm just not a fan of doing. So if you're going to use one the beginning of the season, okay, but then after that, I would transition to just a standard regular fertilizer with
Yeah.
no herbicide in it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so this is one going to be for you. I think Devin, because I don't know who these people are, and I probably should. He says, "Hey guys, curious who your favorite turf grass researchers are out there. Dr. Tony Koski, out by Devin, or Dr. Travis Shaddux have some great papers, but I'm hungry for more learning. Thanks, guys."
That's actually funny. So Koski was actually one of my professors at CSU, so I had
Oh,
him a lot, and yeah, he's a really good guy. Does a lot of extension work. He's still up there, I believe. Probably should shoot him an email and see if he's got any students who want to intern for us this summer. But yeah, I had Koski. Richard Beard out in California is really good. I'm blanking on his first name, but his last name is Nikolai. He's a turfgrass professor in Michigan. He at Michigan State. He's really really good. And those are probably my big ones. If I do read any research, it's usually their stuff.
cool. So there you go. There you go, Foodies of Turf. Hopefully that helps out. All right, Nick Lear, he says, "Pacific Northwest here. I have 100% perennial rye, and I have thin areas where it is shaded. Should I just keep overseeding every spring and fall? What say you?"
I guess I would take a look at what's causing the shade. If it's a tree that you can kind of thin the canopy out to get a little more sunlight down, you can certainly do that. And if that's not an option, then your best route is to add seed in each year as you go in if you get thinning issues.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, Nick, I mean, even though I think as far as like shade tolerant cool season grasses, like fescues are among the best. I mean, if you like, even though cool season grasses are oftentimes are considered to be more shade tolerant than warm season turf grass, as Devin's pointing out, they still need sunlight. They still do better with direct sunlight. So if it were me, I wouldn't keep throwing grass seed at the problem every single year. Like, if you can, like he said, if we can raise the canopy, do something to get more sunlight on the area, I think you're going to be better off by doing that. So hope that helps. It's kind of tough to answer without a picture, but yeah, more sunlight is a good thing for grass. it does better with sunlight. So
Yep.
hope that helps you. All right, Justin Judkins says, when do you like to put out your first fertilizer app? Mine is already out, Justin. I think Devin already covered this, but I mean, you can read it again. Like, you'd like to do yours, like, when are you going to do your first fertilizer app being in Colorado Springs?
If weather allows it, it'll be the first weekend of April, and I do a bunch of work out on the yard. That'll be my first app.
Okay. So there you go. Next up we have, and guys, I haven't forgot about the carbonized PN. We're going to be doing that. Let me see how many people we have that have registered or that have added. Last time I checked, there were 28 comments, and now there are filter out duplicates because I know how you guys are. There's 42 comments. So your chances are actually pretty decent because some of these are people that were there before. They may not, ask the question as far as, give me my carbonized PN. So you guys may have a pretty good chance of winning. All right, DeMarculis Thompson is up next. He says, greetings, Ron. Happy Friday. Started my spoon feeding this past weekend along with rain this week. The green up is real. Nice. I like it. I am a fan of spoon feeding. It's more air quotes work, but man, grass looks so good.
Good results, yeah.
It does, yeah. Good results. I do like it. All right, Munir Mahid is up next. He says, hey, Ron, the grooved roller on the front of my True Cut 20-inch doesn't stripe well. Does adding a rear roller help too? I've seen that setup recommended on Facebook. Toro also has a striping kit online. Yeah, so it's a good point, Munir. So I have a True Cut. It does not stripe like my Greensmaster or any more with a rear drum stripes, because really with the True Cut, you've got two drive wheels that are, I don't know, they're probably 6 inches wide, 5-6 inches wide. Well, you have a 20-inch, it's even narrower. And then you have the front roller. If you can get a mower that has a rear drum on the back and a front roller, you're rolling over the grass twice, and a lot of times the weight, even though it's not really supposed to be, it tends to be biased a little bit more towards that big drum in the back. So as far as you putting more weight on the turf and really setting those stripes, you're going to get better stripe action from a mower that's powered by a drum greens mower, insert mower type, than a mower that has drive wheels. So yeah, that would be my thing. I don't know if there's a way to do that. You should adding a rear roller. I don't know that it might help some, but man, you can't. Like, I'll tell you, the best striping mower that I have is my Owlet C27, and the reason why it stripes better than my Greensmaster is because it just weighs a lot more. It's like a 300-pound mower, and it just produces amazing stripes. But my Greensmaster is still the best cutting mower that I have. 11 blade is nothing to play with, man. I mean, Toro. I tell you what, if you ever, it's funny, not to go on a tangent, if you ever like read anything like about the space program, right? Like how like they built like the Saturn V rocket and all the intricacies and everything that went into doing that. Try reading a paper by Toro on their different bed knife types and how they, between the black bed bar or the red one, and how to, and grunt and angles. I mean, these people, they're serious about the turf grass, man. It's a different level of insanity. So,
yep,
yeah, good stuff. So yeah, in other words, if it were me, if you really want an amazing cut and better stripes, again, a greens mower is really tough to beat. The new Revolution is a nice mower too. It's a good option too.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. That's a great that mower. As far as a mower that approaches what my Greensmaster does, it's pretty close. It's got a lot of good stuff going for it. Okay, next up, let's see if I have any other points. Cool. Oh, this is a good one. So Devin, there's often a contingent of folks that think that they want to have a golf green at home. Like they want to have a true green, and by green, I don't mean like a set of grass that's mowed at like half an inch, like turf grass that's mowed truly at greens heights. What are they signing up for if they decide to truly do that and maintain it? Like what kind of work goes into your greens versus like say your fairways and roughs and tee boxes?
Yeah, you just be prepared. You're gonna mow it every day. It's like one of those things where it just can't really go multiple days without being mowed. So it needs to be mowed every day. Once you start getting kind of into that shorter grass, the amount of water it needs is different. Fungicide program is different. Fertilization program is different. Not that I'm saying it's not possible for a homeowner to do. There's a couple, one guys that I've seen who's done it really good on YouTube, Jimmy Lewis, he has probably one of the best golf greens I've seen in his backyard. And I think the Lawn Whisperer is going to do one, so I'm curious to see how his turns out. And then Ryan Norris planning on doing ones, so I'm curious to see how those work out. So it is possible to do. It's just, and I'm sure if you watch their stuff, they'll tell you how much work goes into it. You got to be out on it every day. You got to mow it every day. Um, it's just everything's amplified 100% versus just a regular yard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot more work. So just know what you're signing up for. All right. So we have a Tom Balaquet in. He says, I live in North Carolina and put down spring pre-emergent 2 weeks ago. When can I begin to spot treat weeds? My yard is Bermuda. You could have done it on the same day, Tom. There's not really like pre-emergent is kind of like what the name implies. It's designed to prevent new weeds from coming in. A post-emergent herbicide to take care of existing weeds. Like there are like I've done it myself, but there are people that will mix pre-emergent and post-emergent and use that as a way to clean up a weed-infested lawn. But as far as spot spraying, you could do it the same day. You could do it the following day if you wanted to. There's not really a period of time where you need to wait because again, with the post-emergent herbicide, you're dealing with weeds that are existing in the lawn, which a pre-emergent isn't going to do a whole lot for. So you could go out tomorrow if you wanted to and spot spray.
And that's actually funny. So the other Tom V is not Rachel's uncle. That's Rachel's uncle because the last name. So that's funny. So hey, Tom, thanks for watching. Pretty cool.
Nice. So there you go. So you guys got your question answered, Tom. If you need anything else, let us know. And thanks for coming to support Devin. It's pretty cool. All right, Munir Wahid says, not to put you on the spot, Ron. So you're about to ask me something that's gonna put me on the spot. That's what's about to happen here. He says, but what are your thoughts on the Swordman Electra for homeowners? They are quiet, come with cartridges, and aren't too expensive. I've never used one myself. The only Electras I've ever seen are the ones at Real Rollers, and their experience with them was not the best. So that's maybe the ones that they all had were ones that had issues with them and they were working on them or whatever. But I've never mowed with an Electra myself to be able to say how well it works or doesn't work. So I really can't say. I'll tell you this: when something goes bad with an electric mower, it can be pretty expensive to fix. So what I would say is if you're going to go with the Electra, and I would think the cartridges for the Electra are the same ones for the other Swordmans. If you're getting a really like a smoking deal on it, I would look at it I would price it from the standpoint. Here's a better way to answer your question. If the price you're getting on the mower and cartridges is a good deal, if all you were buying were the cartridges, then I would say go for it, because then you can always go out and you can always go get it like any one of the other Swordman mowers, and if the electric mower breaks down, and go to something else. But the limited experience that I have with it, I've seen with those, they've not been as reliable, for example, as my Allet has been, my C27. So you have to take that for what it's worth. Probably not a question that I really can answer because I've never actually owned an Electra, never really used one regularly. And the only ones that I've seen were ones that Real Rollers had, and those ones they just didn't work very well. So yeah, so I hope that helps. All right, Jared George, he says, on the topic of electric, while I look for the next comment, Devin, like with you guys, when you're mowing right now, what percentage of your equipment is electric, if any? And I guess the rest of it's gas. Like, do you guys use any electric equipment at all?
So the only two pieces of equipment that we have are electric are our two greens mowers. They're like a hybrid, but that's the only electric hybrid equipment we have. Everything else is either gas or diesel.
Okay. So gas or diesel, and the electrics are for the greens. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Jared says, Stripe Action Gang, my dad had surgery, so helping him with his spring lawn care this year. He has cool season mix while I have Bermuda. Okay. Can I apply prodiamine and a post-emergent on the same day to his lawn? Okay. No. So the rates, you can use prodiamine on both cool season grass and warm season grass, but the rates are very different. So cool season grass rates for prodiamine are about half, and sometimes even less than half of what you can use for warm season turf grass. A good example, like the common rate for prodiamine on cool season turf grass is like 0.185 to 0.2 per thousand. For Bermuda, it's like 0.36, we'll call it 0.4, all the way up to 0.8, which is the maximum. So it's about double the rate that you use for warm season turf grasses, which you would use for cool season. So that's going to be different. And then as far as your post-emergent herbicides, they're going to be completely different. Unless you are using, like, what's an example of one you can use? If you are using like a three-way, something like Triad, like that will work on both cool and warm season turf grasses. But if you're talking about something that's specific to warm season grass, like say if you're using like say Celsius or Certainty, do not use this on your dad's lawn. He will not. You guys will have a falling out. Don't do it. So you just be careful. The rates are going to be different. And then as far as your post-emergent herbicide, you got to be just more cognizant that there's only a few that really you can use between warm and cool season turf grass. And I would check the rates too. I mean, even for when you're using it on cool season grass, there may be some guidance as far as differences in rates as far as that goes.
Yep.
So yeah, hope that helps, Jared. And that's good. At least that's good. You're a good son. You're helping your dad out. And but yeah, just don't mix up one batch of prodiamine that's good for your lawn and say, hey, Dad, I'm gonna go and do yours too, and you might not like that. All right, this is one for you, Devin. Golf Junkie says, so still 6 hours north of you, Devin, but talk about biostimulants and what you use. Thanks.
Okay. So at the course, we kind of use just one big one. It's just kind of a kelp product that we get from one of our distributors. And then as far as my lawn here, I'm actually really looking forward to. It'll be the first year I'm going to use it. I'm going to use the Miramichi carbon kit. So I've got the 901C and what's the kelp? Is it the
NutriKelp?
NutriKelp, and then the BioSpectrum. So I'll be using those 3 this year. In years past, I've used some humic kelp-based products that I can get from distributors around here. So yeah, I've used like different combinations of stuff, and they all work really good. But this year I'm going to be using the carbon kit, which I'm really excited to see how that works.
Nice, cool. Yeah, keep me posted. I think you will like the results. I mean, not.
I think so.
But
love biostimulants. I think they're great. I think they're really good. I think it makes your whatever fertilizer you're putting down, it makes it more efficient. Just helps with the soil itself. It's kind of foolish to not use them. I just think they're a really, really good product and can help a lot and have a lot of benefits.
Nice. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I get by with putting less nitrogen, like actually nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, like less nutritional fertilizer in the soil and still have a great stand of turf grass. I credit that largely to the biostimulant program. So,
yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
All right. So next up is you're a Alabama fan, aren't you? I think you are an Alabama fan. See, okay. This is not called for. We're supposed to be cool.
I just had it there. It's usually cold in the basement, so I usually put it on.
All right, so our Fragrance Journey says, just stopping by to say, Roll Tide. Devin would be
Roll Tide. Yep.
Roll Tide. There you go. I've learned a ton from your live stream and videos. So there you go. You got another Alabama fan here. So yeah. So what do you think, Devin? Are you guys a little bit worried this year with Saban? Old Saint Nicky's gone. So you guys think you're gonna?
No,
bad year for you?
We'll be putting a 19 on this one after we win the championship this year. So no need to be worried.
See, he knew he was going to be on here. So
was really disappointed when Saban retired, but I think Kalen DeBoer is going to be good, and I think the staff they put together is going to be good. I'm excited, and I think with the new layout of how the SEC conferences are,
yes,
I think that's going to be really cool. I think it's sweet that we get to play Georgia in like the season and for a regular game. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a cool year. And I think with the 12-team playoff, I think it'll be a fun year for college football.
I think so. I mean, it's less. It'll seem less political than we'll see
for sure.
You know. So cool. All right. Next up is Munir. He says several international status cricket grounds are popping up all over the U.S. now, and head ground curators come over from I guess Aussie from Australia. Aussie, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, here's the thing. So like my dad loves cricket. Is a huge. I mean, any of the British, I guess we say the Commonwealth, any of that Britain once ran or has strong British influence, cricket is really big. So obviously Britain, a lot of the islands of the Caribbean. So Antigua, big into cricket. Um, go Brian Lara. Pakistan, India, a lot of those guys are just, a lot of those countries are big into cricket. I wouldn't have thought that it'd be popular here because it's, I don't know. I don't think Americans would get in. I mean, I think Americans are more into soccer, like football, or
Hmm.
international football, get more of a following. But cricket can be kind of so. You talk about like some test matches that are like multiple days. I don't think people are going to be on for that. So we'll see. We'll see.
Nice.
Let's see here. Next up is he says Dave Agnew at Major League Cricket Stadium in Dallas came from Adelaide, and now a new pop-up stadium is being built in New York for 2024 World Cup. The
That's
curator
cool.
again is from Australia. Ozzy, you guys know your stuff. Cool. Yeah. All right, Mark Luna's up next. He says, "Good evening, all. Time to talk grass." Yeah, thanks for coming to hang out, Mark. Yes, and I am looking that thing you emailed me about. I am looking into it. We're gonna once I find out something from them, I'll let you know. But again, thanks for coming to hang out tonight. Really appreciate all the support. All right, next up we have McNasty Motorsports. He says, "Ron, how best to assassinate a tree?" Strange choice of words. "And replace with a dwarf variety under cover of night without the HOA knowing, asking for a friend." It depends on how militant your HOA is. They're probably they may or may not notice. I don't know. How about you guys, Devin? Are you guys required to have trees in your lawns where you live, or do you?
So it's actually really funny. We are required to have a certain amount of plant material and a certain amount of trees. And it was pretty funny. The landscape company that I used, when I met with their design guy, pretty much handed him a paper, and it had a rough sketch of what I wanted everything to look like, a list of the plant material I wanted, and then how much I knew what hardscape material is per tonnage. And it was kind of funny to look at. He's like, "Oh, where'd you get all this from?" And then told him what I did, and he was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." Um, but yeah, we have to have 2 trees, and we actually had to have one in the back too, because we back up to a street that's visible to the neighborhood. But the one thing I had when I did my design is I don't have any trees in my turf. So um, no trees in the turf, because I was like, that'll be a nightmare trying to real mow around that. So I put everything is either in a bed off to the
Mhm.
side or out of the way. So
Nice. So yeah, McNasty, that might be it. You might be able to say, "Hey, if I put a bunch of shrubs in the beds, will that satisfy my green requirements or whatever?" Might be a way to go. Tom says, "Have you heard of a shovel, a toe strap, car tire pickup method?" All right, so this is a question from Yard Hard. He says, "You can germinate grass seed in a wet paper towel. Can you explain what the biostims are doing for germination?" I can take a crack at it first, and then Devin, if you want to
sure.
chime in. So I think first I'd say yes. While you can germinate some grass seed in, it doesn't take much for them to germinate. As far as the plant like thriving and doing well after germination, like having healthy soil, which biostimulants do create, is an important aspect to that. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not just getting it to start shooting roots. Once it begins to start growing, biostims really will help the plant root in and just and do well. So it's not just that one little portion of saying, "Oh, it's germinated." Now, what value do biostims add to that? It's the entire life cycle, the entire life of the plant that they help support.
Yep, I agree. So essentially, that the wet paper towel is just creating like a wet, moist, constant soil profile. So it'll germinate in that. But yeah, same thing like Ron said. As soon as that germinates and you get some sprouts coming off of that, those roots will go out, and immediately they're looking for nutrients and what they need to grow and become a healthy plant. So having those biostimulants in the soil just makes that a lot easier and a lot quicker.
Yeah, yeah. So it's definitely something. I mean, I'll tell you something. Yard Hard, if you ever get a chance, and again, if you ever get a chance to get your hands on some carbonized PN, give this a shot. So, carbonized PN is biochar and Miramichi's blend of compost. And if you just go find a spot in your yard, take like a 12-inch circle, right, and put some carbonized PN down in that area and work it in, and don't do anything else. Don't do anything else. In 10, 14 days, you're going to see a color difference in that part of the lawn where you added that compared to everything else. You haven't added any fertilizer. You're not really watering it anymore. But what it does help with is nutrient availability. That's a big part of what the products do. And again, I've applied them 6 different ways from Sunday. When I first started, was looking into, I guess, partnering with Miramichi Green, and I was just testing out their products. I did exactly that. So I had a part, and you can actually find, like, there's a video that I did that's probably 5 or 6 years old at this point, maybe a little longer than that. And it was using Carbon Pro G, which is a product that Miramichi Green makes for Lesco's Site 1. And on my lawn, if you're sitting on the patio and you look at the right side of it, and again, this has nothing to do with germination, but it kind of just leads into the topic of how biostimulants help turf grass to thrive, is that right side, because of how water comes off of it, was always lagging behind the rest of the lawn. The rest of the lawn looked really nice, vibrant green, but that area always didn't look that great. So what I did is, when I got a bag of this product, the first time I was testing it, I did an application just there. And if you look in the video, which I'll see if I can dig it up and send it to you, like a couple of weeks later, the area that was the worst part of my lawn literally went from worse to best. Like, the color was better. And this is out with not more watering, no more fertilizer was applied. Just by doing that, it made a visual difference in the quality of the turf grass. So, yes, you can germinate grass seed in a wet towel, but I mean, or wet paper towel, but it's not going to grow in that, right? It's the entire life cycle. It's not just that one part of the event.
And that's kind of cool. I wish I would have took pictures when I did this. When I first started using violence on my old yard, I had a 12 by 12, foot by foot, I guess, piece of cardboard that I put down. And for the first month that I applied biostimulants, because same thing, I was curious. I was like, I want to see if this stuff actually really does work. You would remove that, and after that first month, noticeably difference in the color and the quality of the turf versus what got the biostimulants and what didn't. So just kind of a cool thing.
Good stuff. Instagram, you guys are quiet tonight, man. All right, so next up we're getting close, guys. Tell you what, at the top of the hour at it's 9 p.m. Eastern, so in 20 minutes we'll do the drawing for the bag of carbonized PN. All right, next up we have Trilla. He says, "Hey Ron, and happy Friday, everyone. Good to see Devin has graced us with his presence for some cozies and turf talk." Look, man, Devin had a busy year. He's built a house, got his lawn in order, got married here recently. So the he's a busy guy. You can't just. He's got other things to do other than just come out here and hang out for us for hours talking about grass stuff. So, but yes, we are very happy you're here. Hopefully we can make it more than once a year, because as you can tell, everyone really enjoys it. They like talking to you more than like talking to me. So yeah, we gotta make this happen. All right. G Street is up next. He says, "I did a full lawn renovation last fall. I put down a fast release fertilizer this spring. Will it hamper my root growth? I am up north with bluegrass."
No, let's see. So you put lawn reno last fall, did a fast release this spring already. No, it shouldn't hamper your root growth. If anything, it'll kind of just wake everything up and kickstart everything. If everything's ready to get going, if that's the case, then that won't hurt anything.
Yeah. So I can't see why it would be any negatives, like Devin's saying. Yeah. All right. So Two Trillos up next. He says, "Imagine trying to be the man on the block, watching Run every Friday, to see Devin out there laser grading." Here's the thing. When he sent me the pictures, he says laser grading. I'm like, man, I feel so inadequate. I mean, like, who picked laser grading? Okay. All right, man. Okay. like subtle flex. Okay. How much to man compete? All jokes aside, I would love to be your neighbor. I don't know, man. It'd be a lot of stress. It'd be interesting. I don't know about that. But yeah, because you can tell, like, his prep work. I was looking over the pictures before the live stream started. Like, that looks really good. I mean, that, and you can see by how the sod went in, that grading process really got it nice and smooth and even. So really, when you top dress, it shouldn't take a whole lot for you to get things where you want it, I wouldn't think, this year, right?
Nope. And I'm stealing an idea that the Lawn Whisperer had on his channel. And luckily, my wife loves me enough that she bought me one for Christmas. Is one of the Landsea spreaders. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna put my material in that, and then I'm just gonna walk it out. And I'm not doing crazy, not beaching or anything. I just want to get a good fine layer on the top, mostly to kind of help those seams knit in. And then there's just a few spots here and there from when I was on the yard when it was kind of wet and still growing in. That kind of made a couple little impressions, but nothing too crazy.
Okay. And as far as like height of cut, like once you've got this all done, where do you want to maintain it throughout the year?
3/4. So I'm going to do,
Three
three
quarters.
quarters of an inch is what I've got the bench height set at.
Nice. Cool. All right. Dalen Krause is up next. He says, "Hey, Ron, I'm doing a reno on my back lawn. I have an area between the house and the fence about 8 feet wide. House, fence, 8 feet wide. Okay. If it were you, would you put fescue in that area or do a rock mulch bed? Trying to decide." Man, yeah, because 8 feet. I'm just trying to visualize this. If you only got like 8 feet between a house and then especially if it's like a privacy fence, like it's not like a wrought iron fence, um, you're gonna have a hard time growing grass there. I mean, fescue may not even
Maybe, yeah.
do well there. I don't know. Because think about it, Dalen. I mean, even if you could, do you want to have to take a mower back there? Because 8 feet's kind of it's enough just to kind of be a hassle. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have to see a picture of it. But I might just make it into some kind of hardscape.
Vegetable garden. Do a
Yeah,
garden. Put a mulch bed in there.
yeah. Mulch bed, just maybe like a rock sidewalk or something, a rock pathway. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't for 8 feet. I just don't know that it's worth the headache. Personally, I don't know. Because think about it now. If you got grass back there now you gotta mow it, you gotta edge it, it's just for 8 feet. I don't know that that's necessarily especially in the back lawn. It's not like it's not like we're gonna really entertain or do anything. So
Mhm.
if you want, send me a picture, and maybe if it's a really cool 8 feet, and maybe it makes sense to do that. But I'm just visualizing what you're describing. I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze to me. And you said it would be up against some Tahoma 31. Yeah, just enjoy the Tahoma, man. I don't just let the back kind of go. That's my thoughts. All right. Next up is C Pims. Colin, he says, I'm curious if Devin has used gypsum before on the course, and if so,
Yep.
They use it at a certain recommended rate.
Yep. So we're actually doing. We haven't done it in a couple of years, but we're due for an app this fall and an app this spring, and I believe it's about 400 pounds an acre is what the rate goes out on that. So it's pretty high rate.
So 400 pounds an acre.
Get 2 shots to do it. So you got to make those applications worthwhile.
Yeah, so 400 pounds an acre. That works out. It's like 9. Is that like 9 pounds per 1,000 square feet? Thereabouts.
Yeah.
9 point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lot. That's a lot, Colin.
And that's going course wide. So you think about that. We got 36 acres of fairway, 24 acres of surrounds. It's going on the tees too, which is 2.6 acres. And then we got another, I think it's 26 or 28 acres of rough. So it's going to be a lot of material going out.
And when that goes down, as far as getting it into the soil profiles, is it just water, or do you guys do any other?
Yeah, it'll just be. Hopefully, we'll time it with a rainstorm, rain or a moisture event, or it'll just get watered in with regular irrigation cycles.
Okay, cool. Question for you about Blue Muta. He says, Devin, any experiments with Blue Muta, which is like a blend of using Bermuda grass and Kentucky bluegrass, ever see a successful establishment?
So it's actually really funny. The seed that I bought, that 365 SS, those 3 varieties are designed for a Blue Muta mix. They've used it at the Rose Bowl for that before. So I would say that's probably a pretty successful test. I think the Rose Bowl usually has some of the best turf. I'd put it right up there with Augusta usually.
Whoa, watch it. Oh, careful now.
So, but yeah, it's, I've heard that that's really good. But as far as other varieties, I don't know too much about. I've just been reading about that since I bought some of that seed and was doing some research on it before I bought it. But they say that has really good successful rate, interseed in that in with Bermuda grass.
Cool. All right, Andre Taylor's up next. He says, good evening, Ron and Devin. Happy Friday. Many thanks for all the lawn care wisdom. We appreciate every blade of it. I guess pun intended.
Nice.
All right. Next up, Tom. He says, also, Devin using here's the thing, and I knew this was going to happen. When you told me you had a 14 blade green smash, I said, okay, everyone's going to go out and get 14 blade mowers now. He's okay. I heard he's using a 14 blade on a higher cut. Do you have any tips to reduce rippling slash washboarding?
I think I know that mower is going to work really good because it's mowed tees for years at the club with that. I think that groomer helps a lot. It's set just enough to kind of go through and kind of finely comb. That would stand it up, and we should get a really good clean cut as that comes through.
Nice. So the 14 blade combined with the groomer at 3/4 of an inch, 0.75 should be, you think, is gonna work out well.
Yep.
Nice. Next up is John Williams. He says, I have mole crickets. How do you kill those? There's a insecticide. I'm not sure if you guys ever have to deal with this, Dev, but there's an insecticide called Delta Guard that I believe is labeled for mole crickets. John, I'm pretty sure because I get this question like a couple times a year, and so I'll get you a link to it. Look at double check the label, but I'm pretty sure that this is it's labeled for both Bermuda mites and also mole crickets. So let me get this to you here real quick, and you can take a look at that, and you can maybe that'll be the solution to your to the problem you're having.
Thanks.
All right. Hey Star 1141 says, Ron, I tried Primo for the first time last year on my cool season lawn. Curious on what I could mix with my split Primo apps to help with color over the summer. You know what? We happen to have someone that does sprays Primo on cool season turf grass, so we'll ask him.
So whenever I do my Primo, it'll be mixed in with a liquid fertilizer. It's an 1806, and that only goes down at 0.5, so half a tenth of a pound. So that doesn't do much, but I do that weekly. And then I always have, it'll either be an iron product or it'll be a micronutrient product. And then it'll either be some other stuff that gets thrown in there. Got to take your advice. Can't give all my secrets away. But anyways, my Primo always gets mixed in with a little bit of nitrogen and either a liquid micronutrient and a liquid iron. So there's one of those, and that kind of just helps with any bronzing. But once the grass gets used to it, there's really no bronzing, especially with the split rate.
Nice. Yep. So hope that helps. A Star. Yeah. I mean, what he described is I do the same thing. I use a 901C carbon kit, and yeah, it does a good result every 2 weeks. That's what happens. All right. Higgy pops up, says, happy Friday. Have a great show. Thank you so much, Higgy. We do appreciate it. And then John Williams says, how much carbonized PN would I need for 1,000 square foot yard? It depends. So one bag is labeled to cover 1,000 square feet. Like the way Devin is using it, I'm not sure how many bags you mixed with how much sand you have. Do you remember how much?
So I got 1,800 pounds of sand, roughly. Those bins can fit. They're 7.5 gallon buckets, so they can fit three full of those in. So roughly it's 1,800 pounds that I have out there. And each bin gets about 20-ish pounds. So I've been measuring that out. It gets 20 pounds of carbonized PN in each bin. So each stack is one bag moving down.
Okay. Yeah. And your total lawn size is, you said 1,500? How many square feet?
Yep. It's about 1,500. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go, John. So if you're doing what he's doing, you can, a few bags is really all you would really need to do that. But per the label, it's like it's like one bag per thousand square feet. I've gone heavier than that when I've just used just it on the front lawn. And it works great. It's a more expensive way of doing it, but I'll tell you, the color is insane. It's incredible. It's not good for top dressing though. It's not good for leveling. It's more for just top dressing.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see if I kind of get, it'll be tough to tell because there'll be other products down. But I kind of almost want to at some point do like a separate little trial to see kind of like what green up just that does.
It's pretty insane, man. Like I've done that on the front. Like I'll show you a picture here really quick. I can do that. So this when I found Memory Green Biosimilants, this was from a few years back when I did a top dress of the front lawn with just carbonized PN. And granted, I did go heavy. And you can see like the picture really doesn't do it justice. Like that, I'm not sure if it's really coming through, but that color is just, and again, this is no additional fertilizer, no additional anything else. The color was just so rich and is just absolutely gorgeous. So I think you're going to see, if you decide to give that a shot, you're going to see a difference. I'm fairly confident in that. Yep. Okay, good. So next up is Johnny's back again. He says, "How do I kill palmetto bugs?" I don't, man, I'm not sure what insecticide will do that. I think diatomaceous earth will do it, but I don't know if you're like, I'm not. Are you talking about if you're in your lawn? Maybe bifenthrin. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head like what's labeled to control those. So I will, if you want, send me an email, ron@golfcourselawn.com. I'll look into it and give you an answer after the show's over. But yeah, I wouldn't think those would be difficult to take care of. All right, Shortgrass Living says, emailed you the grass seed I have, but haven't tried. It's SPF 30 Texas bluegrass, and then a ryegrass from Twin City called Michaela. It's like even the name SPF 30. I mean, come on, it's kind of a cool name for grass seed.
Nice.
And then a ryegrass called Michaela. Okay, cool. I'll look into them, Shortgrass Living, and yeah, we get like a planter outside, and we'll try growing some of it and see how it does. Next up, okay. Next up is Christopher Burkett. He says, speaking of cool season grass, what is your reason for not overseeding with rye? No fall pre-emergent, mowing all year, maybe slower Bermuda green up. I would like to see rye stripes on your lawn. In my case, it's a bit of all three. And the one you didn't mention is I don't like cold weather that much. So I don't want to have to mow when it's cold out. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Seeing Robert's lawn this past year, and if you guys ever watch a live stream, Robert Rainey's, he's always showing pictures of his lawn. It looks so good. I don't have a picture of it. It looks so insanely good that I may, this is the wrong it's the wrong profile. That's why I can't show you. It looks so good that I may have to give it a go this fall and just deal with it, right? Just deal with like if I have some POA the following year, if I have and the Bermuda is slower to green up, I may have to do that because it looks so good. Looks so good. We'll see. What might happen, Christopher, is I may just do just the front lawn or just an area because it's a lot to have to mow. Almost 12,000 square feet. If I do just the front lawn, then it's not as big a deal. So yeah. All right, next up is Vahi Navi. This is a good one for you, Devin, I think. He says, what is the best temperature to put down cool season grass seed in the spring?
Ideally, you want the soil temps to be 55, 60 with everything kind of greening up. You can certainly put it down before, as long as the soil's not frozen. It just won't do anything. And usually if your soil's frozen, then you're not able to do all the agronomic practices to set that seed up for success to germinate. So 55 to 60, and once stuff's starting to green up.
Nice. Cool. All right, next we got Oliver Ridham. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Scalping was a 2-day project for me. Tell me about it. It can be a lot of work. Decided to take it to 0.75 inches, then to 0.40 inches. Grass is already greened up after 5 days. So Oliver sent me pictures of his lawn before the show to show you guys that. So this was the lawn before scalping, which actually looks pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. As I'm saying, I wish my grass was that green. Not that green yet. So this is like phase 2. He's bringing the greens master out, about to go do some battle, and you can see he's cutting all the color off of it. I'm thinking this is like the 0.40 height, and that's what it's looking like now, nice and tight. That's the material that came out of it, which is quite a bit. That's it's not a small amount. And then the final result is that. So he took a lawn, which most people would say this looks better. He went from this to this, but when it grows back through, it's going to be, I'm sure, absolutely gorgeous. So it's a good stuff, Oliver.
Nice.
Serves a lot of work. Thanks for sharing the picture. See, look at all the fun you guys miss out on by having cool season grass, Devin. Think about that.
Yeah, that's pretty. How long does that take? Like once you scalp it to like really start like see a green flush come through on that? Not long.
A week, yeah, a week. So what tends to happen is if you have a lawn where you scalp it and a lawn where you don't scalp it, you will see the lawn that was scalped will be 2 to 3 weeks in some cases ahead of the one that wasn't. So it doesn't take very long. Yeah, Bermuda loves to be cut short. So it really wakes it up if you when you clean a lot of that debris out and you cut it short. It's not like it's not a permanent. It doesn't hurt anything at all. The grass loves it.
Nice.
Yep. Yep, good stuff. All right, so Tom Hoffenkamp, he says, Devin, so are you saying the turf has a memory? It remembers last year's PGR? Mind blown. Are there any other lawn memory factors or issues we can use positively or watch out for negatively? So
That's a good question. Definitely like anything like PGRs where you're really just changing the way the plant works. When you're doing stuff like that, other stuff that's like nutrients, it just is going to uptake it as it needs it. But when you're really changing chemical structures and how the plant perceives what you want it to do, that's when it kind of, you got to teach it and kind of do it. It's, I guess it kind of same thing with mowing. You got to teach the grass. You can't just go out and blow it down from 2 inches to 3/4 of an inch. You kind of got to gradually take it down and get it used to that height of cut to thrive. And like when it starts going down lower, it changes the way it grows, and like leaves become finer versus like fatter when they grow up taller. The way it spreads is a little bit different. So yeah, anyway, when you're changing like anything within the plant, it kind of, it's better to go slow than just quick.
it tends to adapt. Yep.
Yep.
David Eccles, another one of you people from Alabama. He's like, Roll Tide. I don't even know what.
Roll Tide.
Why? I don't even know why I put this up here. Here's the thing. Only because a company, this is happening, all you Alabama fans. Just know if next week you guys do this, I'm just going to ignore the comment. This is going to be, I'm just going to move on past it. All right. Taylor Riley is up next. He says, hey, Ron, West Texas. My yard is only about 20% greened up. Should I wait to scalp and begin 14-7-14 until I'm regularly mowing, or good to go ahead and do it? Got the itch. You can go ahead and do it. I mean, my front lawn is definitely further ahead than the back. But it's all been cut. It's all been mowed, and it's the 12-0-24. In my case, I'm not putting any phosphorus in the soil. Has already gone down. So yeah, you're good to go if you want to do that. Roy Lee Jr. Brown says flex, okay. And then next up we have GH. He says good evening, cool on peeps. They're all coming up. Dude, I'm seeing more people who I've never seen before. We got to do more cool season content. You got to come on more, man. Yeah. He says, what a strange year for temps and drought effect. Still freezing, high 20s at night, and warmish, dry 40s. The grass is currently turning red now. Can't wait for rain. Huh. Okay. Roy Brown Jr. says, hello, what's going on? And then Paper Chaser says, I got some Governor GPGR. When is the best time to apply? That's a good point. Have you ever used any of the granular growth regulator?
No, I've read about them. I've never used them. I guess I'm really not brave enough. I just don't think you can control like very quantitative the amount going out versus granular. I guess it's just not as accurate is I guess the word that I'm looking for. But I have read about them. But I guess if you're applying them, it'd be the same thing. When everything's green and growing regularly, mowing ready, is when you would apply that. But no, never used the granular PGRs.
Yeah, no, I'm not. It's always been liquid. Yeah, it's always been liquid. Because to Devin's point, it's like the rates are so small that it's I don't know that you can really be as precise with a granular product. And also, frankly, if you're out there doing it, a big reason to do liquids, in my opinion, is that you can do a lot of other stuff along with it. You can spray a little micronutrient, you can spray some biostimulants, you can do a lot. Whereas with granular, it's like you do that and then you have to go do something. It's hard to stack them all together and save time.
Yep.
Okay. Larry's up next. He says, "Hey Ron, I've been very busy the last few weeks, but the lawn has greened up nice and dark. Blanket spray tried and killed all the weeds. Okay. 12-0-24 every 4 weeks. I'll email next week with pictures. Sounds like a plan."
Nice.
Hustlonian says, "Hi Ron, what's going on?" And then next up is I am Psalms 91 equipped says, Ron, what would be the best fertilizer organic from I guess you're in Argentina. I don't know what you can get in Argentina. Like the organic fertilizers that I have experience with are Milorganite, which I haven't used for many years, and then the 14-7, the 4 product from Miramichi Green. Both are great. I like the 444 better. I think it's better value for money, and also just the formulation is better. Um, but as far as what you can get in Argentina, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know what you guys have access to. And as far as best goes, I don't know. I don't know what you have access to be able
Mm.
to tell you what to go with there. If you were here in the States and you were looking for an organic fertilizer, I would recommend the 444 from Miramichi Green. It's an OMRI listed product. It's a really good product. I mean, it took like a year longer to get access to it than we expected because of all the work they did to try and get it exactly right. So that is what I would go with if you want to use an organic granular fertilizer. So sorry, I'm not more help on this because I don't know what's available in Argentina.
Thanks.
All right. Next up is JT Hulkster. He says rain would be nice. Not seeing any snow here in Minnesota. Worried as I put down a fertilizer with pre-emergent before 50-degree soil temps. Still high 30s, low 40s. Didn't turn on water yet. Okay. So what? I guess he put out his pre-emergent and then it got cold. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be hit or miss. You'll find out, I guess, once stuff wakes up.
Yeah, that's it. You're there now, so it's not a whole lot. You can
But
only go ahead.
the way I look at this, though, is that's a good learning experience, because if you're kind of in the same boat in another year, you can look back on this year and be like, oh, it did work, didn't work, and then go from there. So good learning
Yep.
experience.
That's the thing with turf grass. There's very few mistakes you can make. I mean, there are some, but there's very few mistakes that you can make that are permanent. Like it's grass; it'll eventually
Grow back.
eventually fix itself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So fear not, let your heart not be troubled. All right, so we have a super chat. We'll grab this one really quick and then go back to our comments. This one is from Mr. Cedric G.
Super chat received.
He says, Big Ron, you are the dude getting ready for the season. My yard is 60% out of dormancy. The rest of the subdivision is still asleep. Isn't that nice? So here's the thing. When your lawn is all, it's all green, everyone else is green, all you can really do is compare your level of green to everyone else's level of green. But when your lawn's green and everyone else is still dormant, it's pretty nice. That says a lot as far as domination goes. So good stuff, Cedric. I'm glad to hear that you're leading the charge, and thank you so much for the super chat. I think you are our highest super chat, so that makes you now the show sponsor. So there you go, your name in lights for whatever that means to you, and dominate humbly. Be sure to get out there and give folks advice whenever they need it. I mean, don't be like me, where like whenever I'm throwing my products out, I throw like some in one trash can and some in another trash can in case people are going through my trash in the middle of the night. You gotta make sure it's like a CIA operation here. All right, Jason Sewell is up next. He says, "Happy Friday. I got my soil test back. It recommended a 1600. I didn't see that in your store. What do you suggest?" Humic Max, the 1608. I mean, adding a bit of potassium is not really gonna hurt anything. That is what I would use, Jason. The 1608 Humic Max is what I would go with. I'll even link it for you here in the chat to make life even easier for you. And that's not right. And there you go. Okay, so at Jason. All right, cool. That one. All right, guys, we're getting close. I got to do the drawing here for the carbonized PN. If you've not gone to last week's live stream and commented, I want carbonized PN, go do that. Courtesy of the nice folks at Miramichi Green. Is Adam Carter, who says, "Hey, Ron, I sent you an email about how to stop birds from digging holes in my yard. I sent you pictures of what the holes look like." Yeah, so as far as holes digging in your yard, Adam, they're probably after earthworms or some other insects. So short of eliminating those, I don't know. I mean, shotgun, but I mean, that's neighbor's probably not going to like that. I don't know what to tell you. Also, when are you going to start putting fertilizer down? Already done. So granular's already gone down, and then on the 15th, I will spray the carbon kit. So already started.
Nice.
All right, question for Devin. This is from Colin. He says, "Can you apply too much gypsum? Since I've got hard clay soil, I've always used quite a lot and never had an issue with it affecting the lawns."
No, you really can't over apply gypsum. It's just one of those nutrients that it really doesn't matter. You can put it on as heavy as you want. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but if you did, it doesn't do it. I mean, at my old house, I would do, I want to say it was probably about 15 pounds per thousand. I did every spring and fall. Never had any issues.
Yeah, he said he just did 30 to 35 pounds on 500 square feet of bare soil. Like I mentioned, really hard compacted. Never had an issue with it. Just want to hear your thoughts on it. So that's definitely higher than what you're doing, but it's
Yeah,
probably
that's
still not
high.
to the point.
Yeah, you're probably good for a while. You probably don't need to put any more on. But I don't think it shouldn't hurt anything.
Nice, cool, Colin. So hopefully that is helpful for you. And all right, next up we have making a note because it's a really good question. Is Moon Doggy? We're almost to the end, guys. Then we can do the drawing. Says hello from California. What's going on, Moon Doggy? And then Dalen Kraus says, how often will Devin have to mow at 3/4 of an inch for his cool season lawn? Devin, do you ever go out of state to check out other golf courses? My buddy is superintendent at Oak Tree National in Oklahoma.
How often will I mow? Well, when I was rotary mowing, I was probably mowing 4 or 5 days a week. So I'll probably still mow 4 or 5 days a week. I usually mow Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday if I can, since I'm home. And then as far as going out to other golf courses, I actually don't very often, even here, surprisingly. I like golf. I'm not a huge golfer. The agronomy side is my passion, what I love. I'm thankful for the game of golf because without it, I wouldn't have a job. But like when I golf, the way I keep score is how many beers and laughs I enjoy during the round of golf. I don't actually keep score when I play, and I hardly ever play my own course. Whenever I play, it still works. You still noticing everything that needs to be better. Which nothing wrong with that though. But yeah, whenever I do play, it's just to have a good time. So
Just have fun.
I like
That's
Top
good.
Golf. Top Golf's fun.
Okay, I can see that. Just get out there and just see how I mean, play with I guess distance and hit cuts and draws, and
Yep.
you're not putting divots in your turf. There's also that too.
Yep. Exactly.
Adam says, would it be okay to put down a fertilizer here in Georgia since it's going to get in the upper 30s this Sunday night? So here's the thing, Adam. I mean, if you want to wait, you can, but what you're going to find is we will still have a day where temperatures will get cold, but it's gonna come right back. You know what I mean? So the overall trend is going to be warmer. Last year we did have a period there where late March we got down into the high 20s, low 30s for several days, and that did stunt some of the turf. But I mean, if you have like one day where it's colder, it's gonna be just fine. I really wouldn't sweat it. Again, if you want to wait, you can, but mine's already out. So if you want to email me or ask me, hey, how's your lawn doing after Sunday's not gonna be a good day to tell me. If you want to ask me like by Wednesday next week how it's doing, I'll be able to tell you. I'll take pictures and it's probably gonna be just fine. All right, next up, you're very welcome. I am Psalm 91 equipped. And then Jared George says, thanks, guys. I wasn't worried about rates. I'm aware he just has some weeds left over, and I was wondering about doing his pre-emergent and spot spraying with the proper post-emergent to his the same day. Yes, you can do that, Jared. Yeah, there's no problem with doing that at all. Let's see. Terrence, I think it's a cool season question. He says, hey, Ron, St. Louis here. Turf Trap Tall Fescue laid down prodiamine on March 1st. Still a good amount of weeds that have come through. Should or could I put down prodiamine in November to control September overseed?
I guess two things. It depends on what rate you used for your initial. If you did the full rate, then you'll need to use a different pre-emergent, which I would use tenacity if you're planning on overseeding, because prodiamine and overseeding really don't mix well. The new seed doesn't like to grow up through that barrier, and you can kind of get some root pruning issues, and just doesn't come in very good.
Nice. So I hope that helps, Terrence. So as long as you're sensible with the rates, you might be able to pull it off this fall. All right, next up is Andre Taylor. He says, Ron, I know it's been a bit early, but since you're already putting down fertilizer, when will you start spoon feeding? So I'll spray the carbon kit on the 15th of this month. But again, Primo is not really going to start happening until at best mid-April. More than likely, it's going to be. Typically, I do it like May. The first week of May is when I typically start pre-emergent. So it just depends on what temperatures do, and how the turf's looking. But yeah. All right. JT says what? You don't play golf? Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
Only
guys.
sometimes. But you got to think about it. The golf course is my office. It'd be like on your day off if you went and hung out in your office.
I could see that. And then you go in, yeah. And in your case, your job is to make it look as good as possible, and all you're seeing when you're walking around is the things that need to be fixed. Yeah, I can see it.
And
Not as much fun.
and then during the summer, I'm there Monday through Fridays, and then I also work Saturday mornings, so I'm still there almost every day, and then I take Sundays off.
So you don't want to take Sunday and go back and play golf at the same place. Yeah,
I got to mow my yard at home.
See, so there you go. The reason why is his priorities. So there you go, right? All right. Grace.
I was going to say, it's kind of just a weird little side tangent. Some of the guys at work always give me a hard time that they're like, oh, you got to get some hobbies. They're like, you do this all day at work and then you go home and do it. But I think I've discovered why I enjoy doing the yard stuff and like all the hands-on and getting dirty doing it. Because the farther you go up in the industry, the further away you get from all the fun of doing it. So it's fun to actually get to go home and do all that instead of getting to watch everyone else get to have all the fun.
I could see that. Yeah. Cause while you might specify like the rates that are used for spraying, X product, like you're not the one actually spraying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I could see that. You're not the one actually running the mowers, and I get it. I get it. All right. Grace Ortiz says, Ron, what can I put down to increase my organic matter? Soil test showed low organic matter and the pH is 6.1, turf type tall fescue. Essential G, carbonized PN. Yeah. Essential G is the easier of the two because you can apply it with your broadcast spreader. Carbonized PN is awesome, but applying that, over a property, over a lawn is going to be a bit more work than Essential G. So I would say Essential G, Grace. That would be my vote. Final answer. All right. Next up is, and I'll send you a link here, Grace. Once in a second, I'll find it. I'll send it to you where you can pick it up. It's actually right. You can go here at Grace. I can type at Grace right there. All right. Next up is Colin. He says, awesome. That's what I figured as well too. I agree. I won't be putting down any more for a while. It's part of the prep for the new lawn, as Ron knows. Yeah. So as far as the amount of gypsum. Okay, cool. Good stuff. All right. And then our final comments, or we're winding down here a little bit. Chantel says, good evening, lawn peeps. Curious, Ron, when is it time to spray for insects, acceloprin and preventative fungicide, Pillar SC, in April? Do you mix it with the carbon kit? Great question. So I do my preventative insecticide app. Again, this is if you live in Northeast Georgia. It is, depending on where you are in the country, it does change a little bit. But the first part of April is when I will do my acceloprin application. The product that I use, if I got a bottle of it here, is this. It's a Acceloprin SC, the suspension concentrate, the liquid. I like to use this, and the rate I use is 0.20 ounces per 1,000 square feet. That's a good rate. There's enough left over that if you want to do another app in August or so, like July, August, in case you're worried about armyworms, you still got some on your annual limit to be able to do that. So 0.20 works well for me. That's thing one. As far as fungicide, for preventative fungicide, I do two apps, one in May, one in June, and then Pillar SC or Headway G are what I use. So either one of those. If you like liquids, go with Pillar. If you like granular, go with Headway. Either one's going to work well. Good stuff. And that's a good point. So so for you guys, Devin, on the greens, like how often are you guys using fungicides on the green?
Every other week during the growing season. So it's a preventative program, and it's a rotation of multiple fungicides that get used, so there's no resistance or anything. And then the rest of the course just gets a single application, usually in August, where we get some dollar spot pressure. And that's usually just propiconazole or what's the active ingredient? It's 3,3,6-F.
3,6-F. I don't know what's in it.
T-methyl or not T-methyl, that's primo. Thiophanate methyl is what's in that one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, nice. So even with you guys, again, for the greens, the preventative program is a lot more involved because just the stress on the turf, but everything else you get by with one per year.
Yep.
Nice. Good stuff. Let's see here. Nixa Eagle says, Ron, Devin, What do y'all know about Iron Cutter? Sorry, no cool season content. I don't know what is that?
Iron cutter. No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, not sure. It says, Devin, it's a good question here. Devin, how often at the course are you leveling? How often do you guys top dress and do leveling work?
I guess I wouldn't really say leveling as much as what we do. The greens, it's kind of like a new program we're doing to cause less disruption on the greens through the growing season. So we're actually now doing it's a certain type of soil test. It's called OM246, organic matter through different layers, and you measure your sand in your pounds per thousand. Send that to the lab. They give you quantitative stuff. They measure your organic matter, and then they'll give you your organic matter percent and how much sand you've put on to achieve that, or how much more you need to put on to get it to where you want. So we're getting that number, and we're trying to put in enough sand during our spring aeration, and then maybe one top dressing mid-season, and then our fall aeration to keep those numbers where we want them, but also to keep the playability of the greens the best we can.
Nice. Okay. So as little as you have to, as little as is required. Like I said, because it minimizes how often you have to shut down the course essentially to when you do that. So cool. All right. James says, too late to the party. Can we start the call over? No. I mean, you can watch it from the beginning though. Okay. Moondoggy says, my yard is fescue, California. The grass is starting to grow again. Is there a time when I should look to add product? So you had a fescue lawn. When would you begin introducing fertilizer? Or...
yeah, if it's starting to grow now and come out of dormancy and you're getting good green up and the soil's thawed out, not frozen, you're good to go.
Okay, cool. And then Vahi Navi says, what's a good sand for leveling the lawn for homeowners?
I'd probably say mostly mason sand, if you can get it, is probably your best option.
Yeah. Yeah, masonry sand, river sand. If you can get USGA sand, but it's more expensive. But yeah, and so new cultivar. So it's Iron Cutter is a new Bermuda cultivar. It says massive roots developed in Oklahoma, like Tahoma 31. So is it all the good Bermuda turf grass comes out of Oklahoma? Is that what we're hearing? Is that what it is? All right, guys. So we are near the end of the show. Let's give away a bag of carbonized PN. All right, so let me go through here and refresh this. Let's get actually, let me get sure I can get this, if we can do this live. Can I share this? Okay, cool. So let's copy this first and let's reload it. All right. So paste, that is last week's live stream, and we are not allowing duplicates. All right. So we have 50 people that are here, and you got to be present to win. So our winner of the bag of carbonized PN, the comment has to have carbonized PN in it. We pick a winner, and the winner is Jordan Rockwell, 5873. If you are present, say I'm here. We'll give you a couple of minutes to say you're here, and then if not, we'll draw again. Let's go back to adding to the live stream. So if you're here, Jordan Rockwell, 5873, say let us know, and then we'll send you we'll tell you how to, claim a bag of carbonized PN, which is good stuff.
Nice.
All right. Next up is Terrence says, appreciate you both. Yeah, no worries.
Yep.
No worries at all. And then, so, interesting, Devin. So with you, so this, it's funny how, even though you work on a course like this, now is when you're really going to start with real mowing. Do any of the other folks that work on the course, are a lot of them into their lawns as well too, or they're kind of like, nah, once I'm done with the course, I'm done with, I hate turf grass, I'm done?
The superintendent at the North Course, Mark, he's really into his yard, which is pretty fun. And then our landscape manager, Braulio, is into his yard, and he actually took one of the real mowers home when I told him what I was going to do. So he wants to try to do it as well. So we're always spitballing ideas, and he's always asking what I'm going to do, and I'm asking how his stuff's looking. So it's pretty fun.
Nice. Very cool. It looks like Jordan is here. So he says, I am here. Very cool, Jordan. So if you can, please, sir, send me an email to Ron at golf course. Where's my email address? Here it is, ron@golfcourselawn.com. It's on my forehead. So send an email right here with your address, and we will get you a bag of carbonized PN. So just say, hey, it's Jordan Rockwell
Nice.
from the live stream, and you get a bag of that good stuff, courtesy of the nice folks at Miramichi Green. All right. We have a couple more questions. SJ says, how many pounds of nitrogen does Kentucky bluegrass need annually? I do foliar sprays of 7 pounds annually, and my soil sample constantly shows low nitrogen. That's seems like a lot of N.
I was going to say, usually only 4 or 5 pounds is all it needs through growing season. So then my next question would be, is what kind of nitrogen are you applying? It's probably a quick release, so it's probably really not getting down into the soil would be my guess. So you just need to change your type of nitrogen so it's staying in the soil.
Yep, there you go, SJ. Because 7 pounds sounds like, I mean, that would be a lot for Bermuda. So that's for KBG, that seems kind of high. No Name says, Devin, what's your typical off-season day for you at the course?
An off-season day. Let's see. So I guess there are kind of two of them. If it's like a snow day, we do snow removal. So we do all the snow removal for the club property. So we'll be doing that. And both crews, the North Course crew comes down and they help all of us down at the main course. So we'll do snow removal. And then if it's a regular day, it's usually just like office work, building the agronomy programs and building our calendar for the upcoming year. Conversations with the golf shop. They'll send us all the tournaments and outings and everything they have on the calendar for the upcoming season. And then I'll take all those days and then I'll pluck in everything that we need to do throughout the season. So it's just a lot of planning, mechanics working on mowers, grinding reels, everything gets ready to go. It's pretty much once the season ends, it's just a turnaround and then you're already starting for the next season.
Planning for the next year. Nice. Yeah, I think about that. Yeah, so you get to plan all your work also around events, tournaments, that kind of thing. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So usually by mid-February, the golf shop has their calendar done. I finish our calendar, and in February, we already know what we're going to be doing in the end of August.
Nice. Cool. All right. We have a couple more questions. James says, great idea getting a course manager. I like the idea. Any chance to getting a warm season and great spring prep like Augusta National? I'm not sure I understand the question. You're talking about like getting a golf super that does warm season grass? I know a couple of people. I don't know if they want to get on a live stream though. I have to see. I do know a couple of people, but I don't know if, again, I don't want to be on video for a couple of hours. So let me work on that, James. Let me see what I can put together. AA Star says, can I substitute a heavy spread of Carbon Pro G for carbonized PN when it comes to top dressing? You can, but it's not, they're different. Like one is a granular product, one is like, again, if you look at what Devin did here with carbonized PN, one is like a soil type product that lends itself well to being mixed with sand. You know what I mean? So, I mean, can you, in other words, if your only option for introducing some organic material is Carbon Pro G, yes, I would do that. Is it a substitute for carbonized PN for a top dressing mix? I don't think so. No, I wouldn't say that it is. But if that's all you can get, go with it. All right, a couple more questions here, guys. As Cat's Meow says, good evening. Soil Report recommends 3 pounds. Again, I'm guessing per 1,000 square feet of 0.460. So a lot of phos.
Wow, no phosphorus.
Yeah, that's a lot, which comes to up to 35 pounds. I want to spoon feed it, which comes up to 10 pounds. How do you choose the correct spreader settings? Those numbers seem right.
No, I would maybe look at your soil test. I don't think I've ever seen a soil test where they want you to put that much phosphorus down.
Yeah, that's a lot of phos. Cat's Meow. Yeah, I don't that seems like, yeah,
That's a lot because I mean, how many pounds did I use on mine? Let's see here. So I had put down, where is that? 1152.0. So my backyard so this is an 1152.0. My backyard got 0.82 pounds total, and the front yard got 0.43 pounds total, which gave me half a pound of phosphorus. And you saw how far that
moved the levels. Yeah,
mine,
that little bit did did that. So you can see like the Foss is the second bar there, and it's high. Yeah. So I think maybe double check the soil test results. That seems too high. All right. Wise Guy says, hello, Ron. Do you have a yard calendar on your website that I can use for purchasing? I can use/purchase for Bermuda. To have a yard calendar that you can purchase. So yeah, you don't have to purchase it. There's one that's for free, and it does work for Bermuda. So I'll show you really quickly here. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to resources, and then go to lawn care schedule. I'll link it in the chat for you, and then pick option 5, which is the monthly application schedule. This for Bermuda warm season turf grasses is probably more. It is better suited towards warm season grass and cool season grass from the standpoint that I talk about scalping, which is not something you would do on a cool season lawn, but everything from your scalping, your soil test, your pre-emergent app, your fertilizer app, insecticide apps, fungicide. So really, you can follow this pretty well. There's a lot of people that aren't members of the academy that just do this on their lawns, and I get emails from them saying, "Hey man, I follow your calendar and it's amazing, great results." So for you having a Bermuda lawn, Wise Guy, you could literally follow this and it would work. It would work well for you. So I'll send you a link to that here, and it's free. You don't have to buy it. I mean, the one that we have in the Golf Course Lawn Academy is more detailed than this, but I mean, if you want something to roll with, I mean, this is a great way to go. So there you go, Wise Guy. And then I think we are almost there. Jared says, I have a patch of cool season under my tree from rookie mistake last year. It was the first thing to green up quicker than my dad's cool season grass. What kind could it be? Fescue, rye, probably rye. You probably use rye if you did it. So it could be a rye, could be fescue, could be any of them. Hard to say. If you made an oopsie, it's probably, I would guess, a ryegrass. Jared. James says, we're close. Let's get a few more likes so Ryan can sleep well tonight. We have 106 people and only 116 likes. Yep, that's true. We can bump it up a little bit more. That would be great. And then I think that is it, guys and gals. So again, Devin, thank you so much for coming to hang out, man. I know it's been, we kept it to a couple hours, only 2.5 hours. And yeah. So again, if people are visiting Colorado Springs, now, as far as being able to play at your course, you have to, I think there's like a spa where you can stay at, or you can, like, I guess, how does a person get to play your course? You have to be a member?
Yep. So members obviously get to play. And then we have 2 lodges now, and you can stay and play.
Okay. So there you go. So if you guys are out in Colorado Springs, want to play a great course, and you're a decent golfer, so you're not going to put big nasty divots in the course, go out to the club at Flying Horse, and you get to see Devin's handiwork. Well, cool. Nice. Devin, any last parting words? Anything else you want to chat about, or?
Yeah, I don't think so. That was a lot of fun. We'll have to do it again. Maybe we'll plan it once I get the yard going and get it top dressed, and kind of a little bit after that, and show you guys the results of what I get going here this spring.
Awesome. Well, guys, again, cue the outro music. Thank you guys so much for taking some time to hang out and chat with us tonight. Hopefully you guys got some value out of it. I had a lot of fun. It was awesome having Devin on, having a different perspective, and someone that's an expert on cool season turf grass to help answer questions. We've got great products to help your lawn look its absolute best in the Golf Course Lawn Store, so feel free to go there and check us out. And as always, if you need help with anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Take care.
Nice.